But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Yo, I think we're live. Oh, excellent.
Yo,
Excellent.
thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
I know.
You're very far if you call McToon or Jerry or Whitsett.
Mick Angry Tune walking around in the snow. You know what I mean? Where's the guns, Nathan? Where's the guns, Nathan? What a child. What an absolute
He literally let the globe side down with that. A big fail.
What an absolute child, eh?
I got a laugh.
I got that microphone from Chilean. He sent it. It's a nice one.
How'd you get it?
Yeah, I'll show you quickly.
Hi.
Got the stand as well. I'll take out the box because that's in the box. Like, hold on, I'll go slowly out. Hold on.
It looks better than my microphone.
Oh,
I'm
he's
sure,
never
Mike.
used it. He's never used it. He's never used it. It's blessed, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Big
they're like hundreds of pounds, like, so.
Yeah, I think.
God bless you, Chilean, for sending him that, like.
I know he's blessed, man. I think I don't know, but I think they're about 200 quid. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think they're dear. Very dear. I will get it set up. It's got everything on it. There you go. In a case as well.
Got a kid. Sure. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool,
I'd pay just for case.
Isn't it? Got the old instructions.
Sure, good mic.
Nice.
What you got? You got to take it out of the pocket. Yeah, man. It's a nice mic. It's got volume. It's got gain and everything on it. It's got
They're a good Mac, mate. They're a good Mac. Like,
definitely. I've never used it, but man, I can tell it's good. It's got the cable with it as well. It's in there, but yeah. Again, Chilean. If you see this letter, bless, man, bless. Oh,
it looks like you're talking into that mic.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Chile, man. This is an excellent mic. It's a radio mic, man. It's a radio mic. I do not need any leads for this. It's radio. Thank you, Chile. You're an amazing guy. Love you, dude. Love you. Yeah, I don't know why I went American, but I just did. Excellent. Nice one, Chile.
My question is, Chile, why don't you get on the mic and come and join us and talk?
I know. Chile, to talk to you. I mean, he's not in these live often. He watches them afterwards, but it would be good to see him. And it'd be good to see a few of the guys come in, you know.
Well, I got Jim Enos come in on my show one day. He was on.
Fuzzy Foster, are you new here? I don't think I've seen you before.
We've heard Jim talk, haven't we?
Oh, we have Jim. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Jim came on.
He's proper British. Yeah.
People need to start speaking up. I mean, it's like, look at me, right? Look at the state of how I sound. from South Yorkshire. You can't get a
People
more
love when you
terrible
sound like-
accent.
I don't like the way I sound, but people in general love the way we sound. I know we're different. We've got different
To
accents.
my own ears,
A
I
lot-
sound
A
terrible.
lot of people, me and Michael sound well different. Well different. We're from the north. We're from the north, but he's North England. I'm North Scotland. We sound totally different. But there's a lot of people that get us mixed up. I don't understand it.
I don't get that at all.
All I know is when I listen back to myself,
Uh,
it makes me want to like. It's like you never need to be going on live streams again talking because
you
my
found
voice
you-
is terrible.
Hey, Anthony Riley's in. Say hi.
Yeah, sleeping warrior, you can join, man.
Yeah, come on in.
yeah, anybody, of course you can. Of course you can. Fuzzy Foster, so you met me through, you got me through Sovs. Bless, man, that's excellent. That's excellent.
Nice.
And I just noticed there's a Laura Thomas in Twitter and Twitch. Sorry, I haven't got it up yet, but bless you. Nice for joining. There's probably just you in Twitch. I've only done a few streams there. I haven't got any followers, but it's just
We're seeing your chats, Laura.
I can see your chat. I'll get Twitch up so I can say hello to you. Well, not personally, but through the Twitch app. Obviously, I haven't got it up yet.
What's link for Anthony?
Did it?
Should be in there.
There's links at the top.
Yeah.
Links pinned at the top. Pinned at the top.
I didn't know Twitch's logo was purple. Or something. I don't know.
Yeah, this is Twitch here. Look, I'll show you guys.
Is it Twitch?
Yeah, it's Twitch. It's Twitch. The only thing about Twitch, right? The videos, once they only stay there for 7 days. So 7 days. If you keep streaming there, you'll have like hold on. I think it's 7 days. Yeah, every 7 days or something like that, your streams disappear. So you just keep adding on top of them, and they keep disappearing. They're only on there unless you go premium. They're only on there for about a week, 2 weeks or something.
Everyone should tell you that premium stuff, don't they?
How's it going, Anthony?
Yeah,
Good to see you,
man.
Good to see you, man. I'll show you guys Twitch. Look, this is the Twitch. Yeah, this is Twitch. So I'm just going to say hello to Laura. I don't know how you do can you do a reply? Yeah, you can. Click to reply.
Is Twitch one of them sites like a gaming site?
It's more gaming. It's more gaming. Definitely. When you log into Twitch, all you see is gaming things.
Discord's like that for half of it, isn't it?
Well, that's what Discord was for, weren't it? Gamers,
Yeah.
like.
Pretty much. Right. So the thing is as well. Oh, you can pretty much. Right. So max volume. Thing is with Twitch, while it's live, you can't rewind it or anything. It stays where it's at. It stays up to date. It doesn't rewind. And like obviously it will afterwards, but while you're live, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can't. I don't even think you can pause it. No. You can. You can pause it. You can pause it. That's it, like that. Yeah. All good. So the screen.
So what's made you stream to Twitch and not Rumble?
Oh no! I am still streaming to Rumble, but I've already got one on Rumble set up for tonight. So when I decided to go this afternoon, I could only you can only set up one live stream at a time on Rumble. So I would have had to take that down, set this one up, then set it back up afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I did do it. So I just streamed it to my backup channel instead. So I'm streaming to three places. I thought, why not? I haven't streamed to my backup channel for a little while. Why not? Just put something there here now and again.
Can we talk about possible fakery on the 24-hour sun?
Yeah,
that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. I'm curious. Like, obviously, I've been away for a while, so I've not really been paying too much attention. I came back after an absence, and literally they were leaving the next day. So it was brand fresh new for me. It's like,
it was fresh when you come on Fat Size the other night, and
that was the first time I was realizing that they were actually doing it. So for me, it's brand spanking new. I've not seen any of the build up to it. I've not seen any commentary about it, but I just get to see the evidence without any influence from anybody else at all. My view on it is, it looks legit.
I sometimes to me it just looks too. Sometimes it looks too real. It's just.
Right,
you can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
Yes, that kind of thing. It just seems to me, yes, it does sometimes look real, but then you see little bits here and there, and it is kind of dodgy. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this also. I'm doing tonight. This is the opposite side of what I'm doing tonight. I'm doing what's possibly fakery today, and later on tonight is the second part of this synthetic map. So we're doing possible reasons for 24-hour sun. So I'm doing both sides. So I think. Can
I just speak on it? And
go for it, dude. Go for it, bro.
I don't want to tread on people's toes who have got upcoming theories what happened, but just for instance, Anthony, right? That sun's moving west to east, which don't really fit with a globe, right? But it could be a phenomena of a rotating sky above a flat Earth. That's my understanding on it. Like, I think basically, whether it's fake or whether it's real, it's flat Earth proof. That's my understanding on it.
Well, for me, it can't be would you agree it does debunk the AE map in the sense that the pattern cannot be that way?
None of us have been claiming that, though, have we?
None of us claim the AE map anyway. They just say they put it on us. I mean, sometimes we use it, don't we, for trying to demonstrate something. But yeah, we don't claim that as our.
I've just had a guy literally commenting to me today saying, "Well, flight routes on between Punta Zet," and I was like, "Look, mate, don't straw me, man, with this model." You know, but that's what they seem to want to do. Like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anthony,
the first video, oh yeah, Foster just said it. I know what you mean, PJ. Weather was too perfect as well. It did just look like it was. You know when you see an AI like it's hyper real, but it's not. It
did look that way. If you remember when we were on Flatzoid Show and we were talking about the weather, the forecast was like overclouded, and we were all saying how they were going to get no visibility, right?
That's right.
So that was the evidence at the time. The forecast was poor. Yet when they got there, it was fantastic. So it's like,
that's right.
Anthony, have you seen the video from the guy who's in McMurdo, and he's doing a tour around McMurdo, and then he comes out and he says, "But sun will be setting, blah blah blah," and in his comments it says summer in Antarctica. Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't seen that.
Right, that also goes in line with the guy who Nathan interviewed. Jesus Freak Computer Geek who we talked to, you know what I mean? So like there's multiple people saying that sun sets in Antarctica in summer, and then so like my question is like, do you only get a 24-hour sun in
Glacier?
Yeah.
Let's just explore that for a minute. Let's explore that statement for 1 minute, because you said there are people that are saying the sun sets in Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
My view was that this trip's not going to take place, and it was based on Greater Sapiens' failure to fly over the globe. That was the best evidence that we had that it weren't going to take place. Now it did take place, it seems, and unless we can prove that it was faked in some way, you got to give them credit. Like, it seems to be, at least on face value, the best evidence that the Bluffs have ever had, and we should be appreciating the fact that they've got something right. Now, I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying that at the moment, it's the best evidence that they've ever presented.
So can I jump in there, though, Anthony? Because we've got footage from McMurdo that claims a 24-hour sun as well. So we've got people in McMurdo saying no 24-hour sun, and people in McMurdo saying 20. You know what I mean? So like,
can I say something right down
to? Then it comes down to the guys that went on it from our side, right? Jaron and Austin and the girl, or whoever it was. And I don't even know the fourth party name. I don't know who that is.
Lisbeth. Her name.
No, so it was Jaron, Austin, Lisbeth, and then there was some other guy, wasn't
there? Critical Think.
Yeah, Candice Owens. Oh no,
the Candice Owens. Producer.
There was an Aussie that went too. I can't remember his name. I can't remember the Aussie's name.
Candice Owens, producer. He were a baller.
That's right. I think
he's a baller. McToon, Dave McKeegan. The only flat earthers were Whitsitt and Jaron, as far as I'm sure.
And Jaron put that AZ map on us. That's what he did.
For me, like even I don't really trust Jaren. I'm a little bit more trusting of Austin, but I don't like the fact that he talks about the ether as though it's a thing. He doesn't seem to be able to distinguish the
There's a lot
ether
of
is
things.
philosophical at best, otherwise just evidenceless with otherwise. But overall, I would be thinking I would probably trust Jaren and Austin in that situation unless there was hard evidence to the contrary.
Sov had a good idea. Whether they go for it or not, I don't know. I know they're not exactly perfect in the exact what you call them again? Polygraph test, the lie detector. He came up with that and said he's got to put it to them. Just because they know that people suspect them, obviously. So he put it to them. He's got to put it to them. I think that do a lie detector. Do a lie detector.
Do you know what would be better?
What comes out, you know?
Do you know what would be better? Flatzoid. Could he get to Flatzoid could take the same 4-hour plane flight on a ball, go to the exact same place that they went to within 4 hours of flight, because that's basically it. It might be 4 hours and 10 minutes, but it's basically within 4 hours. Flatzoid could get to that exact same place from Cape Town International, if that's a thing, and that would validate it, right? And he's in the best location to be able to validate it. And I think that if we were to do a GoFundMe for Flatzoid and chuck him on a plane,
I'm going next year. You know that, right? I'm going to go down.
But do we have to get into realms of whether it were real or fake or not? Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, an elevation angle to the sun proves a flat Earth. In my opinion.
Hey,
Joe said there was another guy that was going there to film a documentary. He's a flat earther. Hey, Joe, can I just say, you're in my backup channel. If you want, and there's hardly anybody there. I'm Moomin, I think. If you just want to come over this side, I'll put in the link.
Hey,
if you want
PJ, can I share my GoFundMe on here? I got it set up.
Of course you can.
So actually, Anthony, I have a GoFundMe going for this trip to go down there next year. So
yeah, go for it, man. No problem. No problem.
I just got to get this thing out.
Go on, Anthony. What are you saying? Anthony?
Sorry, was I being spoke to then? Say that again.
Yeah, I said, why do we have to be arguing about whether it's real or fake or not? Like when an elevation angle proves a flat Earth.
Well, for me personally,
wait 1 minute. I'm not just a Oakley parrot. Like I've looked into this, and I can argue why it is a proof.
The title of this show is "Let's talk about the possible fakery on it."
Yeah, I know. But I'm just asking questions, mate.
Yeah,
no. So let's for me, why do we have to talk about whether it's real or not? If we assume that it's real for a minute, then we don't have to question whether or not it's fake because we're assuming it's real. But if we question whether it's real or not, then we have to look at the people that are going and are they credible? Now, obviously, McToon and those guys, well, clearly, we're never going to accept their version of events. But they would say, well, we did bring.
Yeah, so that's my point, though. Like, why are we questioning whether it's real or fake or not when we know an elevation angle proves that it's a flat Earth? Why are we even going into them realms?
Well, they would then say, well, your elevation angle. They would say that your elevation angle, the bottom line, the baseline, would be a tangential line that touches the surface of the Earth, and it just goes off into space.
Well, I can debunk that if you want to go into navigation.
I was just about to. I was going to share the first bit. Sorry to interrupt. I was going to share the first video I wanted to share was Mikey Smith. It was about 10 minutes 35 in. Chilean asked me to do it. I just tried to get it up there, and he took it down. It was McToon walking about in the snow, and when he was passing the tripods, it seemed that the tripod had disappeared. To me, it kind of looked like it just blended in with each other.
You've also got to look at like Toon's shadow changing and that, and all different angles. We're back to moon landing footage, aren't we? You've got shadows in all different directions.
Well, they still diverge, though, don't they?
I wonder why he took it down. Unless it was just. I'm going to try again.
Mikey does that all the time, dude.
My point was, like, why do we have to argue whether it's fake or it's clearly fake? Right? If you understand an elevation angle. Anthony, you wanted to rebut it. You're welcome to, mate.
Go ahead.
Well, the rebuttal would be from if I was to play Ball Earther. Hang on a minute. Give me 2 minutes. These dogs are going nuts. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, the shadows diverge though on all those tripods and stuff. They're from a center point at the sun.
The shadow angles going in all different directions from what we've been presented anyway. Like, you know,
there's some of the shots where they're like diverging from the sun, especially when it's I think due south.
What was the argument to the moon landing footage that?
Yep,
you must have multiple light sources for shadow angles to be going in different directions. Well, that's not an argument.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I've seen the same thing on their footage. Like, there's things making shadows going in a totally different direction to other things.
That's what Mikey Smith was showing, and I just wonder why he's took down the video. I've got another 2 videos to look at.
I'll tell you why Mikey Smith took his video down, because he was presenting an 8-year-old video as TFE.
No. He was doing the McToon thing. It was McToon. He was walking around. Yeah. He was doing that. He was walking past the tripods, ranting at Nathan. But when he walked past the tripods, it looked like the tripod head or camera, whatever was on it, disappeared when he passed it. But to me, to be honest, it looked like it blended in with his jacket. To me, it didn't look like it was kind of far away. It did look like it disappeared, but to me, it could have blended in with the jacket on his arm.
Dr. Buzz says, I have yet to believe they were where they said they were.
I hear you, Doctor.
And I want to fall into that line, but I also want to like just accept they were there and they got this footage and it's real, and I want to debunk it that way if I can. Because like it's easy to like keep going, oh, it's fake, and they want us to say that, you know, they showed us all that green screen crap, you know, they want us to be calling it fake, like, but just what if they actually really did go there and they got 24-hour sun? How do we as flat earthers deal with that? And that's
why didn't they have
I want to go
live feed though, Michael? Why didn't they do the whole live feed to start with? The live feed, they should have done it to start with. They should have had it
on a live feed. But like, just like, right, Roger, you and Ryan did a stream saying there were no what is it? What they call them now when you get them effects. Roger,
okay. I'm listening. What kind of effects?
You and Ryan did a stream and said there were no like what they call them now, them effects that you get. You know when you film it sun and you get all them little lines.
There's no lens flares. There weren't.
You and Ryan did a stream saying there were no lens flares, and there is in that footage. You know what I mean? So we've got to be careful what we're doing.
Lens flare. We've
got to be careful what we're doing, right? And we've also got to be clear. We've also got to be careful claiming that they're not there when they actually are. You know, I didn't
see it to start with, and we went back and we found.
I want to go down lines there. They were there. They've got the footage, and that footage does not prove a globe. That's the line I want to go down.
I got you.
Yeah. But no, that's why I'm doing both sides. I mean, this is about talking about possible fakery, and like tonight this is a technic map, like possible reasons for a 24-hour sun. And
I also want to acknowledge that as well, if I can.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm doing tonight.
All of a sudden, right? You've got your Matt Sargent, your David Weiss, your all pushing a map and a model. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there's this new model that they've all just jumped on straight away, and everybody's talking about it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Well, it's a technic map. That's what
that model's talking about superfluids and all sorts of crap.
Yeah. Can I say something right quick, guys? What's really bugging me is that I think that if you look at it in a clear light, that the radius of what they call the so-called Earth is a lot larger than what we think it is. Yeah, I think
most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So wouldn't it say that our sun's path is a little wider than we think it is when it transits between the tropics, and it does a circular path. When it does, it would cause a midnight sun in that respect. It wouldn't be that hard to do.
Yeah. Let me just say hello to people that's come in, because there's a few people come in. Hey, Joe, and Joseph, good to see you. Dr. Bose, good to see you. I think I said hello to Reg Joe, but hello. Jeff Glasshead, bless man. Graham 9, for like yourself, Gaji, for like yourself, man. Miss Mod Queen Bee, obviously. Jeff Glasshead said it. Dave Barnard.
You said that then.
Banner's had a right stream today.
David Banner, good to see you, bro. Good to see
Banner
you.
has had a lengthy stream today.
Well, I've got two videos to look at. I've got two videos to look at. I did have Mikey Smith looking at two and passing that tripods and that, but he took it down. So the first one I've got is Flat Earth Warriors. I haven't looked at it. I just want to have a look and see what he says, because he's saying it's all an illusion. So I'm wanting to look at Flat Earth Warriors. Do you want to do that now, or carry on talking for a bit?
No, sure.
Shall I look? Yeah. Do it. Let's do it. And I've got RV's video as well I wanted to take a look at. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've put them in the what do you call it? Bloody hell. Description. Bloody, I couldn't even think of the word. I put them in the description, so I'm gonna have to show them of some sort. So
yeah, I watched RV's video. It was all right.
I haven't watched it. I just seen it the first. I wanted to see what he thinks about it, because we know what he's like.
Oh yeah.
And then tonight I've got P Brain, because that's P Brain's talking. I think P Brain's talking about. He's talking about against it, but then after that I'll be doing the, because that's only a few minutes. Then after that I'll be doing the Z, carrying on with the synthetic map.
Right. So
Flatworks.
Anthony said that it looked real.
Yeah,
and I think it looks real. So we've got to be in an understanding where they actually are there, where they say they are, and they've got some footage. And it's that footage we need to look at in order to debunk it. You know.
Who's the gentleman who used to do the Professor Dave videos? Dum 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 dum. Terry Eicher, right? Yeah, he actually kind of opened my eyes to the way that the transits go between the tropics, and they do a full circle when they do it. So I could see if that's the solstice and it's actually switching its transit from Cancer to Capricorn, or vice versa, you're going to get a full 24-hour sun. In that
can I just answer a comment, PJ? Please.
go for it.
Yeah, only update says, I guess I'm the only one here impressed with Joseph Amway's work. Right. How come that model's just surfaced when this has happened? That's my question to that.
Well,
right.
The thing is
all
that
of a sudden, right, when all the suspect flat earthers model is debunked, all of a sudden there's a new model and all them suspect flat earthers are jumping on that model.
That's a good question.
And the question, you got to question things like what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, there's a new model, and they're all jumping on it. Right? That tells me that model's a lot of bullshit too.
Yeah, I know, but is it new, or has it been in the background for a long time and people just stuck to, kind of stuck to the E because that was supposed to put on us? So is it really new? I don't know.
Can I tell you something about?
Yeah, because of what's going on. I get it. I get exactly what you're saying, dude. Because a lot of people do jump in it. I mean, that's why we're talking about it, really.
Right, PJ, you read Bible.
Of course.
Right. Does God say Earth can be measured?
Does he say it?
No,
does God say that man can measure Earth?
Absolutely
not.
No, it says no. So, do you think that man can model God's creation?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's God's creation. As well as it being physical, it's a supernatural thing. It came from a supernatural.
God tells you enough that you need to know in Genesis. Like, if you can't follow that, and you need men to make models and give maps and all other kinds of bullshit.
Yeah,
gonna be deceived.
Can I say something about the new guy? He actually was talking to Duffy 2 years ago. The guy that made the map, Joseph Hanvey. They were doing interviews with Duffy 2 years ago, and I find it kind of weird for a timeline. And now all of a sudden they're bringing him up. So
and it talks about superfluids and all kinds of stuff. It's like
sounds like ether to me, dude. It does.
Yeah, it does to me.
I mean, if they could prove ether,
the biggest eye opener for me is you can go and look at Matt Sargent and people like that. Now the AE map's being debunked, they want to jump on another model.
The AE is a projection of the globe, right? It's all it is. It's a globe projection.
You don't need no models.
No, you don't. We don't. I mean, this is just talking about because even though this doesn't really matter, I mean, it doesn't matter what they do over there. We keep saying it doesn't change that you see no curvature. Doesn't change the flat Earth measurement so far. It doesn't change that we need containment for gas pressure. It doesn't change any of that. None of the observations. It doesn't change that. If there is a 24-hour sun,
PJ, right? Look at what Genesis tells you, man. Genesis tells you that there's a container. That's why you're breathing gas, right? Genesis tells you that.
Absolutely.
Well, how about Earth spin? The Earth doesn't move, man.
Genesis don't tell you Earth's turning. It don't give you space and galaxies and all that crap. It don't give you none of that. It tells you Earth comes before the sun. So the sun's just a light, like God tells you.
Oh yeah. Baz is in the chat. Baz, you're in the backup channel.
When you start going into realms and models that men are
he's in both. He's in both. That's all right. He's in both. I've seen him.
Yeah. But when you start going into realms and models that men are giving you, then you need to start questioning them. Because God's told you everything you need to know in Genesis.
I agree. I agree with that. What interests me about it is if it is lies, you know what I mean? It's what they're doing to keep the flat earth down, you know what I mean? It's I think it's getting far more scared of them before they're doing this. I mean, like one of the videos says I did yesterday, why, if it was so easy to do this, why wasn't it done in 2015? You know, if this was the top player, you know, this was the top player to prove the globe, why didn't they do it earlier, you know?
So yesterday my mum went on the bus, right? And on public transport in UK, you get a free paper called Metro.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
My mum got that paper and messaged me and said, Jedden's in Metro.
Yeah, he's on daily news too.
You know what I mean? It's like, wow, if it's in Metro, right, it's
propaganda, Michael.
It's an absolute government thing to try and debunk flat Earth. That's
what this whole thing was. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna work.
Yeah, Ivan, good to see you.
And then you've got to question, why is government trying to debunk it? Because it was getting too many legs, you know?
Yeah, well, Congress said we got
many people talking about it.
I mean, they've always said flat Earth is dead. I mean, even if this is a one-up for them somehow, how does it change what we believe? You know, I mean, there is some weak flat earthers that will change, guaranteed. But it doesn't change nothing. It doesn't change nothing for me. It just interests me. Why the hell is it done? If it's fakery, and if it's not, why wasn't it done?
Yeah, but maybe we've been Jedi mind tricked into thinking that there isn't a 24-hour sun.
Maybe we could
right.
That could have been
They always were. You know,
that could have been an indoctrination.
Been tricked into thinking that.
Exactly.
Hence all your fake footage of the 24-hour sun.
That's why if it is real, then there's just I keep saying it, right? The sun, the moon, the bottom of the sea, things like that are the things we know least about, and they don't prove the shape of the earth. It's the sky, not the earth.
Let me tell you one thing, PJ. Right? Does God's word not say that sun gives light onto all the earth?
All the earth.
All the earth. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. So, to me, it don't mean no. You know?
No, it doesn't. It just interests me.
Looks like Rowley's back though.
It bugs me a little bit sometimes, but it still doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't matter.
Let's go back a bit. Let's go back.
Yeah, Lev, how you doing, man?
Yeah. Well, let Anthony talk.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Let's go back a bit. The one-line rebuttal to how do you debunk the elevation angles? If I was ball earther and I was trying to argue that, if we accept the premise that ball earthers simply calculate the ball into existence by assuming globe and then they calculate it, they have no problems whatsoever with changing the meanings of words, and they'll just use the baseline instead of it being a straight line that we use to trigger, like to do the trigonometrical functions that we're using them for. They'll just use them baselines interchangeably and not think they wouldn't care about it whatsoever. And they'll call it a tangential line, and a tangential line is touching the surface of the earth, and they're happy with that. That's their standard, right? That's their rebuttal that they accept. So if I was to play devil's advocate, I would just argue that and say that's perfectly acceptable for me. I'll just change what you're doing and change it into a globe. And what are you going to say when they do that? Because that's their standard that they think's okay.
All right, so in celestial navigation, right, if you want to use a tangent, that means your GPS stars on that tangent and not on the surface of Earth.
I know, but they're totally fine with that.
No, well, they can be fine with that, Anthony, but they're not right.
I agree.
You know,
But
they're living in a dream world if they want that. Like,
but you said, how do you rebut the elevation angles? And I rebut it with ignorance if I'm a bluff, because I will just ignorance.
Yeah, but ignorance is not a rebuttal, is it?
No, I know that. But that's what they do. And then who are you to say that they're doing it wrong when they seem to believe it? Whether they do believe it or not is a different point. But that's their rebuttal, and we can't say anything because they seem to believe that that's acceptable, right?
Well,
that's their rebuttal.
Then you're dealing with some numpty like, oh, I think Santa's real.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like it gets beyond stupid.
Let's deal with the superfluid comment. Somebody mentioned superfluid before.
Yeah, me. And I mentioned that is in that Anvin model.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a moment, because that's definitely worth talking about. We know that superfluid status is achieved by extremely low temperatures, right? And we don't really exist in that environment, so it's by definition it's science fiction, right? But it is evidenced. It is there as evidence, and we can create it. So think about do you remember the philosophical question that was, how far can you see a candlelight with the naked eye? And some people will say, oh, maybe a mile. Some people say 3 miles. And then somebody will Google it, and then Google will come back with an answer, and it might be somewhere in the middle. And then you'll go, I can see it. I can see a candlelight further than that. And then it becomes about how far can you actually see it. And it's basically like a bragging rights. But the principle that we're looking at is how far can you actually resolve a candlelight? And regardless of what that number is, there comes a point where if you go beyond that number, nobody can resolve it. And I think we could all agree. The light is still there, but we're not seeing it. We can all agree with that.
So I'm again into square law, a light.
Yeah, the inverse square law of light. That's right. Now, think of the candlelight at the scale that they tell us the sun is. The candlelight is huge, and it's many, many millions of miles away. And we're basically varying the scale so that we can have the conversation, right? We know that if you're stood on what they tell us is the equator, the point where the sun is the most concentrated. Whoever's tinkering with that microphone, please stop. That's driving me nuts.
Is it me?
Yeah.
It's the keyboard.
Probably.
I got it.
Thank you, sir. Now I can concentrate on my own words.
Sorry about it.
Let's concentrate on the notion that we all understand what proximity is, right? We understand that the further away from a candlelight you go, you're not going to feel the benefit of the heat from the candle, right? The closer you get to it, you are going to feel the benefit of the heat. It's only very, very close because you've got 2 fingers around it and you can feel the warmth from it. And if you get too close, it'll burn because it is a flame. We understand that the further away from a heat source you get, the less you benefit from the heat, right? Yeah. What does the sun do?
Yeah, we understand that. But globe claims different.
I know. Yeah, but what does the sun do? What does the warmth that is in our environment do to the ice from the Antarctic shelf? It melts it into water, and if you're close to the equator, it'll evaporate it into the sky, and then it'll fall back down as rain, and as part of the cycle, the geo something cycle. Yeah, and that's a cycle.
You debunked a globe though with that cycle, yeah.
I know, yeah, because it's contained. But anyway, we know that there's a proximity relationship with the sun, the heat source in the sky, whatever that is. We know that there's a and it will melt ice into water. It will convert water into gas. So then the question is, well, go beyond the point where the ice starts to rise out of the water because the sun can't stop it from freezing because it's too far away, right? Go beyond that point and think of the candle that you can't see at 1.5 miles or whatever it is. And there comes a point where you're not going to get the light from the sun anymore because the sun is no longer big enough or close enough for you to receive it in the same way that a candle can't be seen more than a certain distance. And the point's not whether or not that happens or at what distance. The point is just to acknowledge that at some point you're not going to see the light from the sun anymore because you're too far from it. If you're not seeing the light from the sun and you ain't getting any warmth from it anymore because you're already on the ice that the sun's stopping from keeping its state as a water, you're now on the ice. What then goes beyond that? Now, I'm not saying that it's the edge of the map.
Yeah.
Don't misquote me or anything like that. But what I'm saying
No.
is there comes a point where you're not going to get light and you're not going to get any warmth from it whatsoever. So
True.
as the temperature gets ridiculously cold, is it possible, by pushing the imagination a little bit, because we can't get there, but is it possible that if we get to the point where the sun can no longer stop the ice from forming into water and go beyond that so that we can no longer see the sunlight from the sun, is it possible that we get to the zone where superfluid features begin to occur? Maybe we get to the point where oxygen begins to freeze into a solid and you get some elements, like not droplets, but you get like liquid that's become solid oxygen, for example. And maybe there's a point where all of the other gases, if you go a bit further, all of the other gases begin to solidify and you end up becoming to what we would describe as a wall that was basically ice, but is actually the elements that can't keep their position as a gas or as a liquid, and they've turned into solids. And all of a sudden, it might be the point that you find that there's a liquid there that's superfluid helium that is the only thing that remains liquid at that temperature. And then it starts falling around you because you keep pushing it beyond. I'm totally into the realms of sci-fi. I get it.
You're getting there.
We only have one heat source, and we know the further away you get from it, it gets colder and darker. So what goes beyond that point that on the Antarctica where they say is, well, you just come around the other side of a ball. What if it's the edge of the map in the sense that not map, but it's the edge of the computer game that we live in, because the sun's no longer able to stop it from doing what it's doing, which is basically holding its position as a gas, holding its position as a solid. And there's one liquid there that's superfluid. And then all of a sudden you realize I can't get back to where I was to tell everybody, but there is something here that's a little bit unusual. I'm going to die here. You're going to die with the knowledge that there is something that's beyond everything else's imagination, but you can't get back because you're too far away. So I'm not saying it's true. What I'm saying is the idea of superfluid things, they've got to be considered a possibility because we know that the sun is proximal to us and it stops all the ice from becoming water. It stops it causes the ice to become water. It causes the water to become gas. And if you get further and further away from the sun, then what happens at that temperature?
Well,
and then it is possible.
Can I just
you're in the realm of smoking
can
God?
I just point something out, Anthony, that Bible says, and I don't know whether it refutes you or not, but in Bible it says he carved a circle in the face of the deep. So just imagine that the deep's frozen,
Yeah,
and sun's doing a circle.
yeah,
And then it's carving a circle in the face of the deep. Just saying, I don't know whether that refutes it or proves it or
so
not.
imagine you've got what they describe as the universe, right? And it's a solid block of basically everything that's what we call liquid and gaseous. It's all of the elements in life that are all in solid form, bar one that we don't seem to get there, which is helium. Helium seems to be a liquid at absolute zero. Imagine that you get to a point where these things are all in solid form and you've still got this one that's in superfluid. At that point, you want to create something because you're the creator and you've got a block, you've got an area that you can work on, and you think, right, I'm going to stick a sun. I mean, this area we're talking about is galactic levels, right? We're talking huge volumes. But you think to yourself, right, I'm going to create an area that we'll call life. And in that area, we're going to put a load of people. But the first thing that you really need to do is create some land or whatever. But you can't because everything's solid. If you were to put a heat source in there and start and make it local, immediately you're going to get stuff that melts. You're going to get stuff that evaporates into the gas. But it'll be contained by the dome that's just been created or the circle that's just been created, caused by the heat source that you've just put in there. And it'll form like a bubble. And in that bubble, there will be lots of liquids, lots of gases, but it's contained. I'm not saying that that's what I think it is. But if I was to push logic beyond the point of where they tell us we're like, oh, well, you just come back round to the other side of the globe and then you're back up in Australia. If I go beyond that and accept that it's a flat plane and I remove the sun, the light from the sun, the heat from the sun, and it all goes dark because you're no longer seeing any of it, no matter what time of the year you go, the temperature plummets, really, really cold. Everything seems to turn into solids by one thing that turns into liquids. And obviously, they're never going to let you go and explore that because it's a one-way ticket. You ain't coming back, and you wouldn't be able to communicate coming back. So there'd be a dead camera somewhere, and your corpse. But you found out that there was something there that they didn't tell us about, and you were right after all this time, but you died in finding out. I could understand why we wouldn't be able to go and explore that, But I don't put it past the governments to be able to develop machinery that would be able to get you far enough to realize that was going to be the case. You'd have to turn around, come back, and then you realize we are in, and then they would want. That's the reason why they wouldn't want you exploring Antarctica. Because let's remind what Jaren said. Jaren said, "Oh yeah, they've got these guards here that they mark the areas with these red pole flag things, and if you go beyond them, there's all these chasms and all that." And they're saying that if you go there, that you're going to die because you'll fall down these chasms. And his perception was that these guards.
They're also saying that you can't freely explore.
No, you can't. You definitely can't.
Hang on.
Can you, Roger?
No, you can't.
No, of course not.
Jaren described these guards as being there for their own protection, and he described it in a way that was believable, in my opinion, that he genuinely believed that the guards were there to stop them from falling down chasms. I can totally get that. But equally, you could say, well, were they really guards or were they really gatekeepers? And they were telling them that there's a bogeyman there.
But just 1 minute, Anthony. Could I not say to you then the reason you can't freely explore is because you'll find dumb?
Maybe.
Could I put that as well as chasms, like, you know? Because
but if I tell you
in God,
if I put you a perimeter fence, if I put a perimeter fence around your campsite, and then I call it red lines and say danger, do not go beyond past this point because there are chasms, and we're here to make sure that you stay safe because you can sue us. And Jaren goes down there with that naive perception that they love us. Then the reality is you're going to have to make it, and it may well be that there are chasms there, and it may well be that Jaren decides that he wanted to ignore the advice and he wanted to go and freely explore, and he did fall down a chasm. And they said, well, we did tell you. Does that mean that because there were chasms and Jaren fell to his death and therefore they were telling the truth? Does that mean that there's something beyond there that they're not? Because it might just be, just tell me crazy, but it might just be that beyond that mountain.
Then we're at the if P then Q, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, true. The reality is, we know that the sun causes the reduction in temperature and the change of state from all of the elements that we live in. We know that it causes that. And they've got down to a point that they're happy for them to be in, but they've got a red perimeter around them that tells them it's full of chasms if they go beyond it. Now, Jaren obviously believed that. Now, I'm not saying he was right to believe or wrong to believe, but I'm saying that are they really guards that were looking after their welfare, or were they really gatekeepers that were stopping because it's changed. It's changing the.
So let me. Can I try and word it for you, Anthony?
Yeah, go on.
Either there's chasms or there's a dome that they don't want to find.
Either they were guards looking after their welfare, or the gatekeepers stopping them from exploring.
Yeah.
They could probably kill two birds with one stone, and they're doing both.
Yeah, they could be doing both. Like they could as well be chasms and a dome.
Can I just say to Lev? Sorry, Lev, when you try and talk, your mic's all crackly. I think it was you. I'm trying to talk.
Lev, you sound terrible, mate. You need to drop out and come back in. I heard that. I just thought it was distortion going on.
No, it was Lev.
I realize when we're trying to talk. But yeah, Anthony, it could be both, mate. There could be chasms and a dome.
Could be. But I'll tell you what I found interesting. Bearing in mind that the name of this hangout's called "Let's Talk About Possible Fakery of the 24-Hour Sun." Yeah. I found it interesting when have you seen Eric DeBay's latest video in the last hour or so when he's showing about the apparent length of the shadows whilst McToon's going around saying, "Where's the guns, Nathan?" And he walks about. He goes about 10 steps, and the length of the shadows seem to get like 10 times bigger. And I'm thinking, ooh, that does indicate that there's a local sun.
So on Strength at Shadows, Anthony, can you remember moon landing footage where there were differences in shadows and this and that? It's the same thing, man. Exactly the same.
I'm not saying I'm not brave enough or stupid enough at this point to say that Jaren's not where he thinks he is. He might not be.
No, not yet. Not yet.
But we need to have a bit more evidence first, don't we? Because, on face value, I do tend to believe.
I want to lean that the footage is real, but when you look at that footage and you see shadows and that, how can one light source create differences in shadows? You know, my own senses in my own head tell me that's fake.
What I will accept,
believe it's real.
What I will accept without challenge is the notion that you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. It does look fake, but it also looks real at the same time.
It's uncanny. It's uncanny. To me, it seems like, when you speak of uncanny valley, that type of thing. That's what it seems like to me. It
And the
seems
fact that
to.
the weather forecast said that they were going to get poor visibility, right? But over cloudiness, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And I'm like, is it possible that they faked that somehow? Because the weather can they get the weather so badly wrong? Yeah, of course they can. Would it be likely that they get it so badly wrong on the day that no, it's not likely. It is possible, but it's not likely. They would have got it there or thereabouts, and it was miles wrong.
Well, I mean, I can attest to, like, they've been telling us we're getting snow today on Google, you know, this weekend or today we're getting snow. I'm not seeing no snow.
No,
you know, so like to claim weather, I mean, I don't think they can predict weather anyway. Like,
no.
They can create it, but I don't know if they
create that crap. Yeah, exactly. They've got something to do.
My missus, I've always said to her, look, they're predicting sunshine, and sometimes they can get the sunshine right. It's not accurate, but they can get it there or thereabouts. But they can't predict snow. They always get snow wrong. They can predict rain. They seem to get big pockets of rain, and they said they tend to get that right. But they can't really predict sun or snow. They get that bit wrong all the time.
Just Derek said to me
with this whole scenario, with this whole scenario, we've got to be careful what we claim.
Definitely, I'm not, but I'm saying the same as Anthony. I'm not brave enough to say that it's definitely real, and I'm not brave enough now to say it's not. And I'm not brave enough to say that they are shilling. I'm not brave enough to say that.
Over time, truth will come out, mate. Truth will come out.
It will. Truth. Truth will set you free. But Derek said that we could.
I think as flat earthers, we don't need to stand by it being fake or real. We just sit back, let it all play out, and we'll see what comes.
True.
I do find it astonishing, though. Am I the only one that finds it astonishing that Starlink was able to provide them the internet?
I know. When look at what you call him, Vlad. He's Starlink, and he gets a terrible reception.
I mean, I'm not being funny.
What is Starlink, though? What is Starlink?
Well, don't matter what it is. Just the fact that they've, because like the way I understand Starlink operating, like it goes around the globe horizontally, not vertically. At no point would they ever get the signal. Like, I'm not saying that I might be wrong with that. I've just glanced at it briefly, but for me, their standard of broadcasting was better than what yours is right now. Now, how is that possible?
No.
Derek said we can only speculate for the most part. Were we given any proof yet? Unfortunately, no. I mean, they've given us something, but it's not what they said. It's not what they said they were going to give us.
I tell you what, though, what would you say if Jeremy was sat here right now in this conversation and he was telling you, you must be a fucking moron if you think that I lied about that? Because that's what he's going to say. He's not going to say, oh, yeah, you got me.
I would ask him what
I'd also quiz him about all the things he's lied about.
Exactly.
Right. All right, then, Jaron. You want to claim you're Dan, then you're saying I'm a liar. What about all other things you've lied about, mate?
Yeah, see, this is where...
No, you still crackly live. Still crackly live.
It sounds like you've got a bandwidth issue.
Sounds like your cable's a bit dodgy or something.
Do you know what I would say?
The best thing to do is just sit back and watch, mate.
Yeah, that's what I am doing. But here's my problem with Jeremy, right? Forget all of the things that he may or may not have done that were good or bad.
Right.
Forget all of the things that he may have done that may have been good or bad, right? The way that he was portrayed in that that documentary, what was it? Was it Beyond the Curve or whatever it's called?
Beyond the Curve, yeah.
Yeah, where he said, interesting, right? If that was me and I was being misrepresented the way that he claims that they were, the very next thing that I would do, it would be my highest priority. I would go back to that same place with another group of people. I would repeat that experiment thing that he was doing, that visualization thing. And I would show that, look, this is what actually happens. It's witnessed by all these people here. And it was not what they were showing on the video. And that would have been my number one priority. But he never did that. And I fully expected him to do that.
So why is it they're always the same suspects involved with these things that make Flat Earth look bad, Anthony?
Because they're the ones that chase fame the most, aren't they?
Yeah, because they want to be famous and they want to look good in front of everybody, and they're stupid.
Yeah. That's funny.
True that.
Yeah, next year I'm going to go down and Nathan Thompson, I think, from what I can tell so far.
You're going with Nathan Thompson?
See, I don't think Nathan Thompson's a good guy to go down there.
No, I don't.
Because
he's really dodgy.
He's really dodgy.
A little bit dodgy.
what you need to do really is you need to take somebody that's not in the topic either way. You know, like a scientist,
Yeah.
not a scientist, but like a teacher, like Conspiracy Cats, but that's not in the topic.
Yeah, you
'cause
need somebody in Switzerland. You need somebody that's neutral,
Neutral.
non-biased.
I got you.
Neutral, Switzerland, yeah.
Because like it doesn't matter who you find, because like Nathan Thompson might tick boxes for 20% of us, but 80% don't like him for whatever reason. And then Nathan Oakley, for instance, might tick boxes for 35%, but the rest don't like him. You're never going to find someone that's 100%. And Jaren's not 100%, is he? Let's be honest. But
No,
he's probably. But would it have been any different if it was Mark Sargent that went down there and did the same thing? Would it be perceived any different or any better if it was him? And most people like Mark Sargent. He's not contentious. He doesn't cause trouble. But they also accept that on face value, he's not pushing the stuff that is more than scratching below the surface. He's just trying to get people into the topic.
Right. But it is the thing, Anthony, right? It doesn't matter who's gone down. We've got presented with some footage, right? We need to deal with that footage. Not whether it was Jaren or Witsy or McKeegan. All we have to do is deal with the footage.
Look at the footage first, definitely. I think that's a first thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The evidence is king. But when we're questioning whether or not the evidence is legit, that you can't outlook past the evidence to the person. Like for me, the most credible guy to do that test would have been Rob Skiba. He is the most credible, in my opinion. Obviously, he's not here to do that. But who's next? There isn't one, is there?
No,
because everyone's got an opinion one way or the other. I couldn't go and do it because half the people wouldn't accept it. But then, does that mean that
you have to question why no one else were bothered about going down there? Why were it only Jaren and Witsy who wanted to go?
Well, for me personally, I could spend time in a pub with you guys having a pint of beer and some peanuts, but could you be in a tent with them guys for more than? No, I couldn't be in a plane.
No,
I couldn't be in a plane. I would want to strangle the guy, and I'm sure
if I were in the same place as McToon, I'd smack him. And
I'd want to box him.
I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a believer in Christ. Call me Christian, whatever you want, right? But if I were in the same place as McToon, I'd slap him.
Yeah.
I could do you guys remember?
I could deal with McKeegan, but McToon, no, definitely.
No.
Do you guys remember Al K?
Al K.
AL space K. Basically, he's an alcoholic. He's a Scottish guy, and he's an alcoholic, and his nickname is Al Key because he's an alky, right? Al Key. His vitriol levels against me were off the scale, right? But one day, me and Ranty went to an observation point that we knew that he was going to. They were trying to keep it hush hush, but we knew that they were going. So me and Ranty decided that we would go to see were he there. Now we were expecting to run into Miles the Liar Davis, but what we actually ran into was Al K. And all of his levels of vitriol evaporated. He was a skinny little small guy with little man syndrome. And I mean, Ranty's not tall, but I'm not 6 foot. I'm just under 6 foot. But I'm much taller than what Al K was. And he honestly shrunk when we realized who he was. But he saw us coming, but we didn't know what he looked like. But we realized who he was because he was in the right place at the right time with his camera out and his tripod. We knew it was someone, but we didn't know it was him. But we just didn't know who it was. We thought it was Miles the Liar Davis. So I says to Randy, I says, right, let's go and introduce ourselves and confront him and see what he does. Man, he started hyperventilating. I thought he was going to have some kind of seizure on the floor. He could not breathe. He was shitting himself. So
No.
it demonstrated that these people are not the same in real world than they are when they're behind a microphone because they are a keyboard.
Well, that's it. I mean, look, even Nathan, when Nathan's on his stream, you see how aggressive he can be. But when you talk to him backstage, he's chill. Or when he comes on my stream now and again to give me a bit of advice or whatever, he talks chill. You know, it's almost, I know it's not a character, but it's almost like it's just not a character, but a different version of him for the streams. You know, he's an acquired taste. He's an acquired taste. Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, this is a bully tactic, though, isn't it? Like, you know, anyone can pretend they're something that they're not when nobody can get to them, when they're behind a computer on the screen, you know, like you can pretend.
Do you know what would be good? Do you know what would be good? I'd be up for this. I can't stand fighting a flat Earth, but if he was to go, I'd be there with him because I'd be rubbing his face in it. You know those chasms? There'd be an accident. I can guarantee it.
I have a challenge out to him. Boxing match. I'll have both men.
Oh, dude, love it. I'd love to. I'd love to.
I'll be your referee, dude. I'll be your referee.
Conspiracy Cats challenged me to a fight. Conspiracy Cats challenged me to a fight, and I said to him, you know what? I said, I would do it, right? I would pin my hands behind my back, and you could beat me up freely, and blood everywhere. I fall to the floor, and then at the last second, when you're about to die, the microphone could come into me, and I'd go, do you have gas pressure without containing? Because it doesn't achieve anything, right?
Wow.
But he still won't answer the question.
Yeah.
Nope.
Conspiracy Cats is like that. I mean, I remember when Nathan was meant to debate him, and then Conspiracy Cats says, "Oh, you bottled it out," and I stuck up for Nathan. So he asked me, he told me, he says, "You take his place then. You take his." He knew I didn't debate. You know what I mean? You take Nathan's place, as if I could. You know what I mean? As if I could. But that's what he's like. That's what he's like. He's really confrontational that way.
He is. And you know what? I quite like Conspiracy Cats in the sense that he's quite an affable guy. But I can't get past that he will not answer that question because he's a high school teacher, right? He taught physics, but he educated in biology. So his major's biology, right? Which for me excludes him from teaching physics because he doesn't know it. It's like a guy that's fluent in French being expected to teach Spanish and they didn't major in it. Why would you do that? But anyway, for a teacher teaching physics to be asked that question, how do you have gas pressure without a container? And if you remember Brummy, right? Brummy basically had him over the ropes with it. He asked him about 20-something times, how do you have gas pressure without a container? His overall answer, right at the very, very end, was, you don't need it. It's like, all right, okay, so where's the demonstration that shows that? And there isn't one. But the fact that he still won't acknowledge that, A, there is no science for his position, B, if there was, we would all be on his side, and C, he refuses to acknowledge the consequences of that paradox that he's in.
Yeah,
that just tells me there is
debunking himself for his own comment, though, Anthony.
Yeah.
Did he not say without the balloon
there can be no pressure? Yeah.
Yep, he did.
Right. If he won't address that, tells me that there's no point talking to these idiots.
I wouldn't debate them. I'd box them, but I wouldn't debate them.
PJ wants to fight somebody.
Just them. Can I just say hi to some people that came in? I can't remember where they are. Oh wow, there's a few people came in. I can't see them. Hey, Tony came in. Tony Whitcomb.
Banner chilling.
Kiri Skates, good to see you. Chilling, obviously. Stanley Banana Cam, good to see you, bro. Good to see you all. Right. Oh, Jeff Gasshead, cool. I think I might have said a little bit. If I haven't, yo, bro. Right, let's go on. Go for it. I said a little banana, yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. Come on. We're
back to question, right? How do we trust these people? And the simple answer is we can't, can we? From past experience.
Right.
You know, we have to accept what they're presenting.
Isn't the question really should we trust anybody? And the answer is no. Because even if it was PJ, I still wouldn't trust him because I'd want to know that it was truthful, regardless of it being PJ or not.
Of course. You've got to be skeptical. As flat earthers, I mean, not conspiracy level, but you've got to be skeptical because what we came out of, the indoctrination we came out of, and like Michael said earlier, we might still be indoctrinated into something and don't know yet. You know, we might not all be totally free. We might know some truth, but the other truths might not be the actual truth. You know what I mean? We could be indoctrinated into it, but I don't think we are. But it's possible because we've been indoctrinated before.
Well, I don't trust PJ because he might be a clone, and I'm not really sure what kind of program they put into him. Yeah.
Well, let me just point you to scriptures. Right, it says that Satan deceives the entire world.
Entire world, exactly.
Where did it say that some are not deceived?
Nope.
You know what I think? I think that the way to rule out the trust or rule in the trust would be to send Flatzoid because he's in obviously South Africa somewhere, and he's obviously close to the tip. Yeah, he should be able to jump on a plane, land at the same place that they were at, within the same 4-hour time window, maybe 4-hour 20, because it's a little bit further around the globe, right? But I tell you something, if it weren't 4 and a bit hours and it was near 6 or 7 hours, that's going to need some explanation for them, because it doesn't account for the short difference in journey if it's just a continent in the same area, would it? It'd have to be within 15, 20 minutes.
True. Carry on, I'm just going with Charlie.
Hey.
You can speak about it. What?
Like, from what I can gather, though, all these arguments on distance and that come from straw manning us with AE map.
The Galatians map.
I've had some guy today saying, "How do you explain flight times between Chile to?" And I knew straight away he was straw manning me with AE map. I was like, "I don't claim AE map, mate."
In terms of the AE map, in terms of the way the land layout is, I'm all right with that on the face of it. The way the sun behaves on top of it, yeah, that's gone. The idea of the sun doing circles around the North Pole, that's gone. But the layout of the land, that's definitely not gone, because, like, I do agree with the criticism that, like, what does looking at the lights in the sky do for the shape of the ground? And the answer is nothing. It doesn't.
Well, the problem with arguing about what AE map does with a circling sun is, like, you have to understand that we're all seeing the sun through his own perspective. You know, I hate to go to Jaren's dumb perspective model.
He's right, though.
It does seem like we do see it in his own perspective model, like, you know what I mean? So does it really debunk AE map?
And do you know what? I'm trying to get Flatzoid to realize that he's in a bit of a situation that he should be able to capitalize on, but he doesn't realize it. I'm trying to get Flatzoid to recognize that when he looks south, right?
Have you seen his sun video today?
Yeah, we did one yesterday.
I've had a conversation with him about it, and it's a typed conversation with him, and he's not getting it. Like, he sees the sunrise and the sunset at whatever bearing that he measures it at. Now, whatever that number is, I say to him, "Well, how do you know that that's really true?"
Okay.
And then he'll say, "Well, I'll get the compass on it," and I'll say, "Right, okay. Does that mean, have you accounted for your declination?" I don't know where he is in South Africa, but I use Cape Town.
He did.
Right. So I get you. It's like QNFE saying you need to use real world data. Well, how do you know that real world data is real?
Well, this is the problem, right? Because he's in a paradox, and I'm not trying to get at the guy. I'm just trying to get him to recognize the paradox he's in, because he'll say, "Well, I'll pull a compass out and it'll raise in that direction, and it'll set in that direction, and I can measure those two numbers and come up with a number for either side." And I'll say, "Right," and then I'll say, "Well, have you considered declination?" And he'll go, And now in Cape Town, now I don't know where he is, but let's say for argument's sake he's in Cape Town. It's 26 degrees different to what the compass reads. That's a lot. Now that means that, let's just say for argument's sake, he's looking due east, and the sun rises in the east, and that would be, he hasn't got north. But if we assume he did have north, in theory it's going to be like 0 minus the 90, giving, like, what is it, 360 minus 90, 270. Let's say he measures 270 and goes, "Yep, that's perfect." And I go, "But your declination adjustment's 26 degrees. So that's not really 270, is it? It's 270 minus 26. And then all of a sudden, he's questioning whether the compass is right or not. And he's having to deal with the paradox of his compass is telling him it's a bearing, but the bluffs are then saying you've got to account for declination, which is 26 degrees out compared to what his compass is telling him. And then he's got to ask himself, honestly, is my compass reliable, or do I have to account for a declination? Now that's where his conversation really is.
Yeah, that is the trick, though, isn't it, Anthony?
It is. But he doesn't realise that yet. It's the pen's not dropped for him yet.
Anthony, can I say something right quick? Yesterday he was doing he did it to true north and magnetic north. He was doing declinations to both. That's what he did live yesterday when he was doing the sunrise, sunset. Yeah. So he did. I think he's getting the idea that their declinations are off from what he's getting from his compass. So that's why he did that. He went to.
No, but what you've got to be careful with this, Roger, like, because that declination to a true compass is how they pull that magic trick.
Yeah, declination doesn't exist from a flat earther's perspective.
No,
it's just the correction. From my perspective as a flat earther, it's the correction that's necessary to explain why the sun's not rising in the direction that they expect it on the globe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a just so story.
But, like, if you fall into that position and argument ballers over that, that's where you fail. You know,
because it supports their
I'll be
narrative.
so careful arguing with ballers.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
supports their narrative, and you only fail because it's against their model. But you don't. That doesn't mean that you fail. You can argue that that's a win against their model, depending on what side of the conversation you're coming from.
Talking.
Say that again.
Oh no, I was talking to Vicky. Sorry, I should have muted. Carry on. Sorry. I'm just looking for a background there while we're talking.
He's looking for Jermaine's videos. Yeah.
Yeah, Jermaine, this is why not? Why not? I'm just playing them with the sound down. That's all. Just while we talk, you know what I mean? So people can look at something while we're talking. You know what I mean? Why not?
I like
Gotta get
it.
some of these
I like
ones. It's gotta be done. Carry on, guys. Don't you were talking well then? It's just
I want Anthony to carry on like Sam. Like
yeah, man, he's talking well. I did have videos planned. But I don't know if we're going to get to them.
So the last thing that
because I'm on tonight as well. Remember, 8 o'clock. Hey, Digital, good to see you. Good to see you, Digital. Sorry,
Don't worry, you'll get it worded.
You've got to be really careful. Come on, guys. The last thing that was said was you've got to be really careful when you're talking with ballers over these arguments.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Right.
They will claim victory, right? But when you show that it's not supporting their model, that's actually a loss for them. But they won't accept it in the same way that they'll say, well, elevation angles can simply be curved lines, or they can be tangential lines, and they'll make that square hole fit a round peg in their head, and that to them's a victory. Well, they do the exact same thing.
That's where you've got to realize you've defeated them, because if you don't realize you've defeated them, they'll pillock you, mate. They'll pillock you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I see where you're getting at, Anthony. That makes sense because it isn't just a story. You have to be on a globe to make that declination to start with. But
so if they don't get the maximum rise and set elevation for the sun when you measure it, and instead of it being the 270 it should be, it ends up being 26 degrees out, which is what Flatzoid would get if he was in Cape Town and measuring sunrise and sunset. It would be 26 degrees out. They need a Just So story to correct for that. But really, what that actually is demonstrating that we're not on a sphere because it's not matching up with what it should be. And or when you're looking south, you're looking in 3 different directions, which is what they say would have to be the case if it were the AE map.
Right.
Well,
right.
so in different directions.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so go and look at all comments being made to ballers on that video, Anthony. And see how they're pulling their trick, you know.
They're trying to. It's funny.
Yeah. This is why it's
I've learned so many mistakes me arguing with ballers. It's like
when they claim a victory, that usually is because they've been debunked and they've claimed victory instead, and you've just not realized that they've lost.
Yep.
It was like it's like when I debated Fight the Flat Earth, and he basically said we were talking about gravity, obviously, and Newtonian gravity and all that, and Felix Baumgartner turned up, and it came up in conversation. And I said, obviously, he jumps out the plane. He broke the sound barrier twice, according to what they tell us. But I also knew that when he pulled his parachute, his velocity dropped to about 120 miles an hour, according to the story. So he starts falling hypersonic speeds initially, because obviously there's no medium around him, and he's displacing that medium. But as the medium begins to get thicker and thicker and thicker, he slows down. Now, I'm not saying he's slowing down in the sense that he's putting the brakes on, but there's a resistance against him that is slowing his velocity down. So Fight the Flat Earth said, if that was right, he would have slowed down. And I said, he did slow down. He's like, no, he didn't. And he did. He slowed down to 120 degrees from Mach 2, which means that that's a relative density proof, because the medium he's in is getting thicker and thicker. It is slowing him down. Fight the Flat Earth didn't realize he lost. He carried on claiming that. Well,
Anthony, how does a human body slow down from Mach speeds without destroying that body?
Oh, it wasn't an instantaneous slowdown. It was over a few minutes. But as the medium gets thicker,
a few minutes, mate.
I'm not saying that he did get to Mach 2. I'm only saying what they tell us he got to.
When the medium gets thicker, it's obviously going to be harder to displace, that's the resistance.
But they get a lot of friction, air pressure resistance, right? And I'm saying it's changing the density of the medium because you're getting closer to where all the evaporated gases or waters turn into gases, and that's a concentration point that they call the gradient. Well, we call that's where the pressure, all the gas pressure is created in the biogeochemical cycle. Is it the geochemical cycle? I think it is. I can't remember. Biogeochemical cycle. But that's totally consistent with RDD. And in fact, the flat Earth just will not accept that he got dusted on that point again. He still argues to this day that gravity pulls the sky down.
That's
Why?
what I was thinking too. He would go right to gravity. He's got to, man. I don't know why. RDD is a better explanation in my head. Just wrapping around it.
It's
What is gravity?
Because like the other thing is, like on the model, if I was to get that egg and put salt below it and increase the mass below the egg, they would say that it would attract the egg with a little tiny force that would be so minuscule you could never measure it. But when I actually did it in real world, it pushed the egg the opposite way and it repelled the egg, applying what they tell us mass does. So it's completely inconsistent.
If gravity was true, if gravity was true, I mean that the gravity would be pulling that medium down as well as the egg. So there would be no resistance, would that?
Correct.
No, they wouldn't.
If they're both being pulled at the same time, there'd be no resistance. But there is.
If you increase the mass below the egg by putting more salt in it, it should microscopically pull the egg down a little tiny bit. But it would be so small you couldn't measure it, of course. But it'd be definitely there.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, we're forgetting one thing, that the Earth is actually rising up at 9.8 meters per second per second. Explains it all.
You know what's even funny about this egg thing, right, Anthony? Right, it's an experiment, because I remember doing it at school, and it was taught as an experiment, right? And you've got the ballers saying, "It's not an experiment."
Yeah, well, they will say that. They want to ridicule it, right? But the fact is, that was why I put the definitions for the independent variable 10 times at the beginning of the video. You can pick any one of them. They all say the same thing. You've got to manually manipulate it, and then that is, if it causes the effect, that is then confirmed to be the cause of the effect. But if you manipulate it and it does not cause it, then what do you know? You've given yourself a negative test. It proves that it was not that, and they don't like it. Because they pick science when it suits them and they reject it when it doesn't.
Exactly.
They're horrible.
Ivan, what makes you think? Hold on a minute. What makes you think Anthony sounds like a Glober? What makes you think that?
Anthony's not a Glober, but
he's definitely not a Glober. That's for sure.
Forget what that fool's saying, right? The fact is, Anthony, right, it is a taught experiment. You know, I remember doing it at school,
but it doesn't support their narrative, so they poo-poo it because it supports the narrative.
So then they're in denial of science, not us.
Exactly, the science deniers. That's why I've always said that the science deniers. And when they think they've got something that's called science, there's always mathematics involved in it, and for them that's what they call science. And I just point out, you're correlating. You're not causing, you're correlating, and you're calculating the ball into existence. Outrageous.
Of course.
It is. It's like spiritual geometry. We'll put 3 points on a globe and then calculate it flat.
It's like when I was taught science at school, I was told like an hypothesis were a prediction. How many times has Fight the Flat Earth said it's not a prediction? It's not a prediction. Fucking is.
A valid hypothesis is the expression of a cause and effect relationship where you identify the IV and the DV. If you're not identifying the IV and the DV, you ain't got a hypothesis. So the idea that you can, like Cavendish, for instance, which never had a hypothesis in it at all, but if there was a hypothesis, and the hypothesis was, if I move the balls closer to each other, then they will be attracted by a force, or somewhat along them lines, then you would say, okay, he's tried to do the hypothesis, but he hasn't got a valid independent variable, because the proximity of the ball to the thing is not a valid thing that you can manipulate. The only way you'd be able to manipulate it would be to increase the mass size or whatever, but you can't vary the force between it, because you can't vary the force. But you've got to create the scenario where the force then would be created, and that's why when I changed the mass, the density of the liquid, that I didn't say that a force would be created by changing the mass. I said that if I varied the density of the liquid, an acceleration would occur, and I did that, and it did occur. They just don't like it.
No,
they
don't like it.
Of course. Here, one more quote. Good to see you. Good to see you.
We're dealing with people.
Martin as well.
We're dealing with people who say, flat earthers never went to school, they dropped out, blah, 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 right?
That's the thing. They always do say crap like that. It's always about the diplomas. It's always about the certificates. It's always about what they got, PhDs, you know?
I was made to stay in school, even though I didn't want to.
Just trying to.
Can I, hey, gentlemen, can I go off topic for a second? I wanted to say something. I went into their last day, the chat with the final experiment, or whatever you want to call it. And the first thing that happened was McToon jumped on me and started barking at me, telling me to shut up and get off the channel. I got that from all the ballers. It was like they're assuming their own guilt. It almost seems like they're acting guilty.
To be fair, though, we do the same thing to Brenda. We don't want to speak to Brenda. Maybe they just don't like you, and you have to accept it.
Wow.
It might be. I'm not saying that's the case, but we do that with the likes of Brenda because she's just here to disrupt, not to actually have conversations.
Of course.
I had Brenda, had him on my channel for an hour or two, and it wasn't that bad. It became bad. It started out good. She can actually, or he'll actually have a conversation with you for a little bit, and then she's trying to rope you into something. It gets you the gotchas and stuff.
Yeah, but Brenda will literally, you'll have a conversation. She'll get to a point, and you know that the point that you can get, the final point that she's on, you know that final point destroys her arguments, but she will say it with conviction and an apparent belief that it's true. She seems to believe that it's true. And we know that she doesn't believe that it's true, but we know that she's simply vomiting it because it needs to be said at that point for her model to exist, because she can't accept that it's broke.
Well, I got him to admit that he believes a lot of this stuff. I broke down gravity for one. It's a belief, and he admitted it, or she. Sorry, they do get to that point where they will admit that it is a belief. Well, that's really the weird part.
I've never heard them admit that it's a belief. I've only ever heard them double down the position that it's experimentally verified, and it's not.
Well, when you get into the actually like a Cavendish experiment, and you start breaking it down, they dance around like they're on hot coals, dude. They don't actually come to a real conclusion. They just say it's taught. It's consensus after that. That's what I get from my
wait 1 minute, right? So if this so-called experiment were an experiment to prove gravity, how come he set out to measure density of Earth? That in itself means it weren't an experiment, because he weren't experimenting to find what he were looking for.
It fails at the first hurdle, though. It fails at the first hurdle because the argument is, for there to be a science experiment in the first place, there's got to be an observed natural phenomena, right? So a leaf falling from a tree would be an observed natural phenomena. But the question would be, when do we ever perceive that there's an attractive force between mass? And the answer is we never perceive that, because things go up as well, and it stops at that point. The minute you have no observed phenomena, or you have contradictory evidence to the phenomena, which we have because things do go up, and that removes the phenomena, because
it's not being a phenomena, doesn't it? Like, because everything would have to fall, otherwise,
correct,
it's phenomena.
Correct. And the minute you find something that goes against the phenomena, then it's no longer about whether or not the phenomena is caused by something. It's a case of it's just not a phenomena, because they go the other way as well.
Even if you grant it phenomena, though, Anthony, like,
then you can manipulate the medium and prove that it's not. Because, literally, I had a back and forth with somebody, right? And he was arguing about, have you ever seen those divers that are all inside? They're basically diving in water, but they're inside. They're not in like the ocean. They're in a swimming pool, but it's a very, very deep one. And they're testing scuba gear. I've had guys that say to me, basically they'll question, like, if you stand on a set of scales and you weigh 20 stone or whatever, and then I'll say, well, in what medium? And they'll go, what? And I'll say, what medium are you measuring your 20 stones in? And they'll go, in air, of course, dickhead. And I'll go, okay. So if we chuck that in the deep end of a swimming pool, how heavy are you then? Now, you might not know what happens in that case, but you can't put a force on it because you're not heavy enough to do it. So you'll push off it. So there'll be a force initially, but you'll push off it. You'll start rising to the surface, and there'll be nothing that's on there at all. And when you tell them that, they can't compute it. It's language that they don't understand.
Well, I know an expert in the field of it. They're called NASA. They get some really good buoyancy pools they play in all the time.
The good one is the bowling ball test. I don't know if you've ever seen the video where a guy gets 3 bowling balls. They're all the identical same size, because the bowling balls have got to be a certain size, but they obviously weigh slightly different amounts, and that's why you get a 10 from a 12 to a 14 or whatever. And basically, he's got 3 of them in a tank, a swimming pool, a fish tank. One of them's floating. The other one's basically floating, but pretty much under the surface. But it's not sank. And then the other one's touching the floor. and they're all in, and you can tell by looking at it that the bowling balls don't all have the same, and I'll use the word loosely, weight. They're all relatively dense to each other. They've got a different density to each other.
Right. So in a globe scenario, how are any of them floating?
Well, they would only ever talk about these bowling balls in the medium of air. They'll never talk about, they'll never change the medium. They will always assume that there's a mass that's got an attractive force that it's called gravity, and that's what is defined as weight. But you can never get them out of the comfort zone of doing it in air. You can't get them to talk about stuff in water. And then if you do get them into water, guess who becomes an important person in that conversation? Fight the Flat Earth and his submarine. Because the Fight the Flat Earth submarine would vary its density by flooding the ballast tanks. It would drop or it would sink, whatever word you want to use.
Anthony, answer me this question, right? What submarine ever made on Earth is big enough to fit Craig's head?
I have no idea.
I reckon if we changed, if we accepted that hot air balloons were submarines, but they were of the medium of air, I reckon you could fit his head in one of those hot air balloons. In fact, you could probably superimpose his head on a hot air balloon for this demonstration, because they will not come out of the medium of air. They always want to be in the medium of air because most things are more dense than air and they can claim gravity, right? But if you go into the medium of water and then try and apply the principles of relative density to the submarine, Fight the Flat Earth is the best guy for it, because he knows that when they flood the ballast tanks, the thing sinks, right? And when they want it to surface again, they evacuate the ballast tanks and get rid of all the water, replace it with air instead, and up they go. He's the ideal guy for it, but he'll never talk to you about
another question, though, Anthony. Do you really think Craig were a submariner?
No,
yeah, that's a good question.
We
have all these globers with the claims, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I'm an engineer, I'm a submariner. Phil Bell. I asked Phil Bell for his qualifications. You know what he said? No,
Never did. No,
I won't do that. I won't. He actually says I won't do that.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny, right? But if you're going to use a qualification in an argument, you've got to show it. You can't go into an argument to be a professor and not show your qualifications. If you're not showing them, you're the same as me.
I got told by a ball earther. I got told by a ball earther that I said that I didn't believe that he even had a physics degree, right? And I got told that he does have one, but he only got a third, and he won't ever reveal it because it was only a third. Now, there's nothing wrong with a third. Who cares? The point is, did he have it at all? And he'll never show it because it's a third. Now,
my argument stands though, right? If you want to come into an argument and fall back on, I'm a fucking bachelor's in this, I'm a blah, 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 right? You better show it. If you come into an argument and you're relying on that, you need to show it. Otherwise, that goes out the window and me and you are on the same level, right?
Yeah,
I ain't got a bachelor's in physics, so neither have you, Craig, unless you can show you have. And then you want to on top of me like I'm a clown.
The thing is, right, for me, my view on that academics qualifications argument is that if I'm talking with you guys and you say, prove to me that you've got X qualification, and I'm in friendly environments, I've got no problem with doing that because I don't care, because you're not there to try and get me sacked. But if I'm in a different scenario where I've got McToon and Fight the Flat Earth, I ain't going to be showing them. And I don't really blame them for not wanting to show proof, because I wouldn't want to do it.
But you really do work in that realm.
Yeah. You know, it identifies your real name, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, but you can't be in a debate, Anthony, with someone who's relying on the qualification who's not willing to show it. You can't have a debate on strength of that. Like, it's wrong.
Yeah, but none of them do that, though. What they do is they say, well, I've done the qualifications.
That's what Craig does.
Yeah. Well, all you got to do is then say to him, show us that you got a third in your degree, and then he'll never show it. Because it either doesn't exist at all or we got a third.
Like my father had a degree from MIT. He took a bachelor's degree course, and I've actually seen it. It's not hard to present things like that without presenting your ID. You can actually show an official, not to dox yourself. And that was the game to begin with. Who was doxing who, and who was trying to get people fired because they believed that Earth was flat. You know, who was it?
I've got a son who's just gone to uni. Right? Yeah, he's passed science and physics A level. Is studying medicine. Right? He's a baller. You know, I can prove him wrong.
Good.
You know, but that's just he's got qualifications in that. So what? Don't really.
Do you know what's
mean-
interesting? Do you know what's interesting? I watched a video today on MI5. For those that don't know what MI5 is, it's like FBI in America, right? They're like
Yeah, I know.
police.
It's one
And,
shot to MI6.
007, man.
But they were doing a recruitment drive, and they were basically saying, do you want to protect your country and all that? And go to the website and look at the available opportunities that are there. So I thought I'll go and see, because I don't really know much about MI5. I've heard of them, but my impression of MI5 is a bloke in his shed and he's got a radio and he's talking to his other buddy. Because the reason why I say that is because in America, the FBI are seen as being the elite, right? They're the best. And even they get things wrong. They get bad intel and they make mistakes.
Sounds like Cavendish.
Yeah. Well, that's my impression of. So because I've got this impression that they always get bad intel and they make mistakes, and it's more like Laurel and Hardy than it is professionals. But obviously, I'm ignorant. But that's my impression, right? I went onto the website to see what opportunities they had, just to see what was going and for how much money did you get paid for this. I was just genuinely interested, right? And one of the things they've got is this graduate scheme. And where they say, right, university is not for everybody, but we're interested in people fresh out of school. And I thought, oh, that was alarm bells, fresh out of school. Why? Why is it fresh out of school? And that's because you're unadulterated, right? But that means to me that basically, are they kind of brainwash you, indoctrinate you in some way? It seemed very cultish, that use of language. But check it out, MI5's website, look at current opportunities and scroll down the list and you'll see it's literally there. One fresh out of school. And I was like, Jesus, that sounds dodge.
Yeah, well, there's dweebs fresh out of school join CIA, you know.
Yeah, they're intrigued by the life that they want to have, and they're never going to have. They see the movies and all the rest of it.
What is the how can I word it? What's the task for MI5? Like, what is there? Like, you know, Anthony, if you go and look at a church and you see like a church, they believe Trinity, they believe this, they believe that, they have like a mission statement. What's MI5's? What is the mission statement like?
I think it's fundamentally they're looking at the protection of the life of the civilians. You know, like the reason why I was looking at it is because of this thing that happened in Germany. You know, where that guy drove down the marketplace at Christmas and he killed
and ended up stabbing that copper and that.
I don't know if he stabbed the copper. I've just heard that he drove a car down, and I was like,
I watched the video on YouTube and he was stabbing loads of people. Ended up stabbing a copper. Were trying to stop people attacking him, and he stabbed copper.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought
mental. Man.
No, whoa.
So that's my point, Anthony. Is MI5's mission statement to protect the people?
I thought it was to protect the crown, though. That's what I've heard.
About crown.
Of course it is. They all work for the king.
Yeah.
Like America, their police and that work for them. Over here, our police.
I'm not so sure Crown's got any controlling government, from what I can see.
Well, do you not remember when Princess Diana died and the Queen was on record saying there are dark forces at work that not even I can control? I don't believe the Queen understood anything that was going on when it got to that level of government security, because it's not in their interest to tell the Queen everything, because sometimes they do stuff wrong and they don't want to be accountable, but they got the power to do it. So she won't have known everything. But
and on that same thing, though, like that don't mean monarchy is bad.
No, not necessarily. No, because they're there for our benefit.
I mean, I'm not defending monarchy. Like, I think it's a joke.
I think they're a bit dodgy.
All I'm saying is, I don't think they have any controlling government anymore.
Not as much as used to, maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
I want to make a reference.
I'm not too up on politics and royalty and monarchy and that. Vicky's more that one.
Can I make a reference to like the Kingsmen? Like, is it something like that? Is it? You ever watched the movie, right?
Kingsman, yeah.
Look at it this way, right? Monarchies got loads of money. Why do they really need to get into nitty and gritty of what government deals with? Why do they?
I don't know.
We don't know whether they do or don't.
Yeah, well, we don't.
I'll tell you what I was watching that I thought was great. Now, let me give you the background, right? Because I've got the impression I've got about MI5 being some kind of guy in his shed with a radio kind of thing. It's really, really antiquated, right? I
like Mark 21.
I admit I'm ignorant. I didn't really understand how good or bad they were. I had this impression that a lot of times the intel is generally bad, and that's why people get the front door busted in, and it's the wrong door. I know that's not the MI5, it's the police, but generally you hear the phrase, we had bad intelligence and we're sorry. That comes up quite a lot, right? Because I had this impression, Mrs. said to me, she said, have you ever watched the documentary on the liquid bomb plot that was foiled by MI5? And I said, I've never even heard of it. So go onto YouTube, look it up, the liquid bomb threat. Now, I always have the impression that if you're in MI5 and your purpose in life in that job is to prevent national security threats and disasters, how would you ever really prove that you've prevented anything? Because you're not allowed to reveal any of the evidence because you can only do it in court. So you can't tell anyone. But that means that you can then make anything up you want. Say, oh, well, we foiled 16 threats last month. And you go, really?
So
Show it.
That makes you like an unsung hero, doesn't it? Like, you know?
It makes you a guy that you can't tell anybody anything because you're breaching national security even if you share it, right? So really, does it even exist? Maybe, maybe not. So she said to me, go and look at that video and see what you think. So I watched it. It was on for just over an hour. And honest to God, I thought it were brill. Now, is it a promotional video for MI5? Perhaps. Is it neutral? Maybe. But it did show some of the evidence that they were relying on. And I thought maybe I'm underestimating how significantly important they actually are. And maybe they actually do some good. Maybe it's not as all conspiratorial as I thought it might be. Because, like, let's be honest, you could sing your own bugle, blow your own bugle, and say we've saved 16 terrorist threats on Heathrow Airport in the last year. We need more money though to make sure we can do it more. Give us more money, and then they all get a pay rise. And then next year they say, well, we saved another 6, so it's working. Give us more money. You know, you're kind of printing your own money by singing your own bugle that you can never prove because you're not allowed to prove it unless you're in a courtroom. So I was always dead cynical of it. But I watched it, the liquid bomb threat hoax or the liquid bomb threat capture thing, and it was really, really good. If you haven't watched it, it's worth an hour to watch it because I thought I was impressed, genuinely impressed. Anyway, what this has got to do with the 24 hours?
No, but Anthony, so there's also an MI6. What do they do?
I mean, Vicky says, have you got the link to that thing you were talking about?
Well, you just go onto YouTube and type in the liquid bomb threat or the liquid bomb hoax. Yeah. It might be the liquid bomb something. It's just over an hour long.
Right.
But MI6 is the same thing, but instead of it being national, it's on the European level, so Interpol and stuff like that, I think.
Right. Got you. Can I play this 10-minute video? See what we think of it from Flat Earth Warriors. It's a video of him saying this is all an illusion. Because I've put them in the link. I've put people in the description, and I haven't played them yet. You know what I mean? So
I think we've covered every conspiratard version you can have, like basically.
Yes, the conversation's been great as well. It's been great. I just want to play a video, see what we think of it.
Yeah. I want to watch P Brain's newest one. I haven't had a chance to yet. I want to see his out.
I've got P Brain's newest one.
It's not right good. It's not right good.
Well, I've got it for tonight.
Not very good because all he's focusing on is like a lake with reflection and saying,
I got you.
And it's true. Like, how can you be claiming axial rotation when you can get still footage in a lake of mountains and that, like, you know?
That makes sense. True.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. You cannot have. You can't have reflections we get on a flat water, you know. Yeah, can only
especially if we were moving too. On top of that, they would
and then add some movement to it as well. Like you can't get them, like, but these are all arguments we have, you know. Yeah. All we've got for a globe proof at minute is a 24-hour sun.
It's not even a globe proof, that though.
That's not really a good globe proof, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna do a show on it later, probably tomorrow.
The thing is, if it wasn't
not claimed, sorry, my bad.
If it was a globe proof, right, it would have to be supported with the other evidence that proves globe, like measured standing water curving over X amount of distance, or so. Because that evidence
back it up, Anthony, because this will be good. Back it up, man. What
Can I
growth
just
proof
say,
do we have?
Vicky's put the Vicky's put the link in
There's
chat
no
for
growth
that.
proof, so they're hinging
I
off
got
this
you.
one thing.
Yeah, they're all hinging on that, but they're ignoring that they've got no evidence of measured standing water, and they've got no evidence of a sticky gas that sticks to the surface of a ball. They've got no evidence of axial rotation, tilt orientation. They have no measurement to that, and that is measurable, right?
Is not this 24-hour sun supposed to prove axial rotation?
It should. That would be one of the first things I would look at. For
Can I
sure.
just say, Vicky's put the link in for that. Vicky, hold on. Vicky's put the link in for that documentary.
The liquid bomb. Yeah.
It's in
Oh,
chat.
Liquid Bomb. Yeah, I'll watch that tonight, Anthony.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
I'm
really
gonna put
good.
that in my watch later.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Like.
It's
Absolutely.
genuinely good because it's based on real world. Some of the things that the facts have been changed for some reason. I don't know why they would do that. I guess national security or whatever. But
Wait,
I
so
had no idea.
this
no
don't
idea.
matter. This don't matter. Eh? It's just a guy who I follow. It's called Andrew Bautista. He used to work for CIA. The reason I dropped on him was he was involved in that. He was involved with that. What's it called now?
The bombing, Oklahoma City bombing.
No, Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay.
He's been involved with Skinwalker Ranch. So the only reason I follow him, like, but he's an ex-CIA guy, and he puts videos out. Like, I can get link if anybody's bothered. Just something that I watch.
Right. I'm gonna go to toilet. I'm gonna go to toilet and I'm gonna play this video.
I don't know if anybody's aware of Skinwalker Ranch, like, but there's some crazy stuff going up there that, like, government's been involved with, private people have been involved with, CIA, MI6, they've all been involved with Skinwalker Ranch, so some weird shit goes off there, like. Not that it matters about the shape of Earth, like, I'm just saying.
Well, we're on a conspiracy topics like Oklahoma City bombing. That was a good one for me. That was big over here. A lot of people were like, was there a bomb inside the building already planted? Because when they rushed everybody out, they said there were more bombs and they were going to go look for them. There's like a lot of question marks they threw up there. And who was handling McVeigh like that? There was somebody with him, obviously. They have him on video, but they never brought him on charges neither.
I've got a good conspiracy theory question. Any planes on 9/11?
Were they all CGI in?
I brought that up in Arwen's chat years ago, and it nearly overspilled on me.
I looked into 9/11 many, many years ago, and for me, I got the conclusion that there's a guy called Dmitry Kalazov, and he gave like a 4.5-hour documentary. It was more explanation about what they actually did and how they did it and why it wasn't other things. And Dmitry Kalazov is on the run, and he has been ever since. And he's in exile somewhere hiding. And basically, when you watch it, I thought for me, I'm going to give him 4 hours of my time, because if he's prepared to give me it, I'm prepared to give him it. I want to hear what he says. And he goes through it like piece by piece of evidence, and he basically destroys the notion that it was like planes. And he shows how it was done, why it wasn't planes, why it was this instead. And Dmitry Kalazov's 4-hour documentary is all you really need. If you watch that, then you realize that what we were told is nonsense.
All you have to do is watch the footage, Anthony, and see that plane disappears into that building like it's CGI.
Oh yeah. Do you mean the Pinocchio's nose footage where it peeps out the other side?
Any footage, like whatever mainstream gives you as footage of that plane, it's in that building. It's not a plane.
There's a guy named James Colbert who actually did a 6-hour documentary on the whole thing. It's really good. He's a Canadian boy, and he went to Japan. He's a Glober, and Dave Weiss got a hold of his stuff, and he says, "No, this guy knows the Earth is flat." And he went on about James Colbert forever, but he did a real good. He put all the video footage together. He walks you through it step by step, including all the statements that were made, who made what, who said what in it, and he interviewed people that were there on that day. And a lot of them have passed away since then. A lot of people he interviewed. It's worth to take a look at. You can go to the Colbert Report. He has the documentary on his website. It's one of the best ones I've ever seen. I like to plug him whenever I get a chance because he did a real good job with the documentary. It's
that is
well
the
made.
reason I stopped watching. Start watching. What's it called? Stop watching. It was called Nathan's. My memory's terrible. Arwen. That's the reason I stopped watching Arwen, because I was in his chat and they were talking about 9/11, and I said, "What about?"
Yeah, I remember.
And he went absolutely sick at me, like called me out saying, "You've been watching too many films, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, I can't watch this guy."
That's not right, dude. You know, I mean,
I
simply,
can't watch this guy. Like, but don't bear in mind, like I got Nathan in the other day saying, "I'm his ace," like, so
really,
that's the only reason I was watching him, and it turns out he's not all that ace.
nope.
I mean, as a guy, I like Arwen as a person, but when he's on topic and he's talking about flat Earth, the problem with Arwen for me is that he won't listen. He will not let you speak, and he shuts you down. He shouts at you, and he does like what Nathan does if he doesn't agree with you on something. And it's like I can't be bothered talking to people that can't listen and can't disagree properly. And that's one of the reasons why I don't go on Nathan's anymore. Nathan...
Anthony, like if you're gonna call your mate, what supposed mates are, as shills and whatever he called me on that day, I can't remember, but whatever you're gonna call me on that day, right? You better be sure that planes hit them buildings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like it's no good kicking off and going berserk saying you watch too many films. Like, you prove to me them planes hit them buildings. Can't do it.
Yeah, I don't think planes hit the buildings. And if you remember that one that supposedly crashed in the field in Pennsylvania that was supposed to be going to Pentagon and they shot it down. I remember seeing an interview from the guy that turned up to do he's from I think it was NTSB or somewhere like that. And he was supposed to be investigating the crash site. And he said there was no plane there. He said whatever that was not a plane crash site because there was no plane.
It's true. It's proper true.
Oh,
But this is shit you have to deal with like mainstream, like so.
Yeah.
We're going to get told planes hit 9/11. We're also going to get told that we've seen a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Like,
of course.
How do you like navigate that kind of bullshit?
Well, like Bigfoot and Lockie and Nessie. Yeah.
Listen, right? I'm a believer in Bigfoot.
Right,
I
believe it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
There's more evidence for Bigfoot than there is globe Earth.
See, I'm in
probably is.
With Bigfoot.
Why do I believe it, Anthony? Because there's people seeing it in UK, and you might not know that. And I only found this out a year ago. Like, but there's people witness Bigfoot in UK.
And this is Vicky. Hold on, Vicky put this link in. This is the metro we Jeremy. Let me just make.
I saw this already. Yeah.
Seen it,
We did the same thing in the daily. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. All the rags have got it, and they're all playing it.
I'm on the TV.
Just having a look. I'm not playing it. I'm just reading what it says. Flat Earth.
So people could see it.
Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted to have a quick look at it. Flat Earth travels to Antarctica to put his theory to the test, only to realise our planet is round. Wow.
Yeah, it's round though, right? Yeah.
One of the world's most famous flat earthers. Can you guys see this? Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting, PJ? Right.
What?
Flat Earth's dead. Nobody talks about it, right? It's just in this little portion of YouTube. But yeah, all of a sudden, Will's talking about Jering Antarctica.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny when they want to present Jeren in that way? He does get publicity, right? But when it's not being presented that way, he doesn't get a mention. That's interesting because that genuinely is interesting. Because like if it had been the other way around, imagine if they went there and the weather forecast prediction was right and it was all dead cloudy, that article wouldn't exist.
Yep.
But who's been talking to all these newspaper people? Like,
well, I think it's Bob Enyart and Duffy. They're setting up the press.
Bob Enyart is dead, unless it's a Ouija board.
Well, I think Bob had a lot of this set up previous. I think that Bob really had a hard on for flat earthers.
Listen, right? Will Duffy, right? Flat Earth kills Bob Enyart's belief, or is, yeah. You can't have You can't have a flat Earth and have crust the Earth being firmament.
Oh, you should see what else he says. There's a lot more than that, dude.
That's a good reason why Duffy's bothered about it, right? But my point is, who's been talking to all these newspaper people?
That's it. Now, let me read this for a minute. One of the world's most famous flat earthers traveled all the way to Antarctica to prove his point. When he got there, he realized he was wrong. Jerry Campanella is one of the world's most avid believers that the Earth is flat. He even runs the popular Flat Earth YouTube channel, Jerryism. He was also
That's not a flat Earth channel, dude. That's not a flat Earth channel.
He was also certain that Antarctica is just an ice wall where the sun rises and sets every day. So he traveled to the coldest continent on the planet to prove his point.
To be fair, though,
go on.
He does admit that he was wrong about the sunrise and the 24-hour Antarctic. So that so far is true. Jeren does admit that, right? And I'll be honest, my view on that was I agree with Jeren. The evidence to prove whether or not it was a 24-hour sun or not was real shaky at best, right? No one disputed it in the north, but in the south, it was dodgy. And that doesn't mean that I've got a view one way or the other. It just means that I haven't seen it to be persuaded myself that it was one or the other. But if I'm gonna flip a coin and pick one, I wouldn't go with a 24-hour sun unless I saw that evidence to show that it is. And now I'm happy to say, well, maybe it is. I'd still want to see more people go down there to validate it. But I'm happy to say that maybe there is a 24-hour sun unless I see evidence to the contrary. Because if it is, it is.
Well, Anthony, I'm going to do a live stream next year, so you can take a look at it next year if I get to the 24-hour sun.
I mean,
I'll let you know.
Like you say, if it is like you say, but as we keep saying that, it might sound like a parrot, but if it is fine. It just means we need to investigate more. I mean, like you said, the sun, the moon, the sky, the stars, just everything is illuminated up there. Maybe at the bottom of the sea, things like that are the things we know least about.
No.
And I think, we don't even know if they're physical, and God made them, so they could be supernatural, and like maybe it's true. Maybe it's true about your own personal dome. Like when you walk away, the moon follows you. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to like disappear. And same as the sun. Maybe you are. Everybody's got a personal perception.
Can I comment, PJ?
Go on.
How come mainstream's only bothered when Jeren fucks up?
That's it.
Everybody's waiting for that. Like, why is it only a topic for mainstream when a flat earth is messed up?
Right, go back to that article and read it carefully, right? Read it critically. What it's saying is actually true. Jeren does admit that he was wrong about the sun, but that doesn't mean that he thinks the earth's flat. It doesn't seem to be saying that. Read it again.
Okay, right, just go for it. One of the world's most famous flat earthers traveled all the way to Antarctica to prove his point. He see, that's even a bit of a straw man, because he was asked to go. It wasn't like it making it sound like he wanted to go, like sort it out. Do you know what I mean? Like it was his idea type thing. But when he got there, he realized he was wrong.
Keep reading.
Yeah. Jeren Campanella is one of the world's most avid, why did I say famous, believers that the earth is flat. He even runs the popular Flat Earth YouTube channel, Jerryism. He was also certain that Antarctica is just an ice wall where the sun rises and sets every day. So he traveled to the coldest continent on the planet to prove point.
That don't make sense.
It doesn't.
No, but it's true. It's true. What they're saying, the message they're portraying is that Jeren went there to see whether there was a 24-hour sun, and he was wrong. And then Jeren does admit that. That's not actually saying that he was wrong about the Earth being a ball. He's just saying that the 24-hour sun, he admits he was wrong about, and that is true. But so look at that next one. But when he got there, Campanella realized that everyone else was right. The sun doesn't rise in Antarctica during the southern hemisphere summer. That's actually true. That Jeren does now admit that. That's not misrepresenting him. It is portraying him in a bad light in one sense, because they wouldn't be caring about him if he was right. If he was right and the sun always set in Antarctica, this article would not exist. But they've not bastardized him, have they? They've told the truth on that so far.
No. True.
Well, he probably did sign a disclaimer when he went down that they wouldn't be able to do that. I'm pretty sure when they did their contracts.
Yeah, but
then Hold on.
The fact still remains that Jaron, only time is relevant is when he's proved wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you a story right quick. I got to salespeople at our Walmart where they sell cell phones, and there's a guy up there standing there. We're having a conversation, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard about that flat Earth thing. I watched Behind the Curve, and you guys made a debacle out of everything. You made fools out of yourselves." That's what I get from people. They want to those documentaries. That's all they know. They don't look into the topic. They just hear the headlines and watch these documentaries, and they don't know anything about the argument to start with. So that's what this is all about. Is keep the public opinion on their side.
Yeah,
That's all they're doing.
So what does public see? A flat earther is wrong. That's all they see.
That's it. Yep. That's it.
But
That's what the mainstream will see.
How come Jenner's not been wrong for the last 3 years in mainstream eyes? He only pops up when he's wrong.
I get that. Fuzzy Foster said, "Top stream PGM panel. I got to go. I'll catch up with the rest later. Have a good evening, everyone in the chat." Nice one for that. Bless you. It is a decent stream. It's a decent chat. I might get to play a video before I finish, but I need to finish quite soon because I'm on tonight. You know, I need to finish before. I need to finish by about half an hour.
It is a decent chat for a simple fact, right? We've been presented with something that
Exactly.
we don't even know is real.
Well, that's true. That's true.
We don't know that footage is real.
No.
Yet.
That's right.
And even if it is real, does it disprove a flat Earth?
No,
I don't.
That's what I'm
so.
saying. And it must sound like it's just cliched and parroted because I say it all the time. We say it all the time. The sky doesn't matter to the shape of the Earth. It doesn't, even if it's a 24-hour sun. So what? It just means a little bit more research.
And let me add this page here, right? We all know mainstream lies. Like we've just been talking about 9/11. Mainstream will tell you a plane hit them buildings.
Aye.
Yeah. Nah, mainstream's jumping on flat Earth has been wrong, and 24-hour sun proves a globe. Yeah. Are we really going to believe mainstream?
Nah.
Really?
Of course not. We wouldn't. But
we have to look at these things with proper
critical. You've got to be critical. You've got to be critical about it. You know what I mean? You've got to be critical, objective. You know what I mean?
But everything that I'm seeing presented so far
is not what they said they would do.
Nope.
Not yet.
It's not a globe proof.
And there is inconsistencies in them. It does. I agree with Anthony. It does look real, but to me, it's too real. It's almost
I agree. It looks real as all, but just because it looks real, does it debunk a globe or a flat Earth?
No, of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
I personally think, right, the footage they've caught, and it's going to come out in time, that it's a flat Earth proof. That's what I think. Right?
But
that sun is going west to east. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they fucked up big time there with that.
Well,
if it's real or I want people to think it's fake or whatever, I don't care, right? That footage does not match a globe.
No. I mean, I haven't watched the full Brian. What do you call him again? Brian Logic. What the hell? What's his name?
Brian's Logic.
Brian's Logic.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know Brian's last name, so but if I could tell you, I would.
Hey Mojo, how you doing, bro?
All right.
Good to see you, man.
No giving that.
Good. I
Hey,
got
Mojo.
What you saying?
PJ.
Okay. I got a few opinions. You know what happened right when they first landed in Antarctica?
Go on.
Jaron and Austin, did they not go take a nap? Did they not go to sleep? They were so tired.
Did they?
Yeah, I've heard that. Apparently, they went to sleep while McToon and McKeegan were controlling.
All the anti-flat earthers were setting everything up.
Yeah.
So, you know, analogy, you know, it's all fake. It's like Neil Armstrong saying, Houston, I'm about to take the giant leap right after my nap.
Right. Listen, I went to a beef and a stag do, right? And I was there 5 days. I didn't sleep a single wink sleep. Yes, but then I was taking drugs, so I was off my head. But I did not sleep for 5 days, right? If they could have gone there, right, and stayed up for like 2 days with no sleep, there's something wrong.
2 days is easy. 2 days is easy.
Have you ever gone on a vacation anywhere? First thing you do on vacation is take a holiday is take a nap.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No.
Usually you're pretty excited. So my opinion, now nothing to back this up, is that they got off the airplane and there's somebody there in the black suit and sunglasses saying, "Come on over here, we're going to debrief you."
Right.
They might have been introduced to the brand new lifelong handlers.
Yeah. But these are all these are all things we can speculate about. We can't prove that, can we?
No.
But here's the thing now. No matter, I dropped the link, PJ. I dropped the link in the YouTube chat. Do you guys watch Melodome, Austin Thompson?
Okay, no, I've never heard of him.
Check that link.
What I'm trying to get at is, why can't we just deal with the footage? Right, I want to speculate about all kinds of shit of what went off down there, right? I could make all kinds of bullshit up about it, but we've been given footage. Let's just deal with that. Because claiming whether Jerem were asleep and there's guys in black sunglasses telling them what, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to deal with the footage.
For me, the only question mark I've seen that's legitimate so far is, why does that length of shadow go from like a small shadow to a really long shadow in like 10 steps? That's a legitimate question, but I've not seen anything else that's jumped off the page.
So there's a few things that have for me, but the only thing I can verify is that there's no guns.
So like I said earlier, Anthony, it's just like moon footage. We've been presented footage from them in Antarctica, just like we were presented at moon landing, and there's problems with shadows.
Yeah, but my response to that was, if Jerem was sat here in this conversation right now and you asked him, did you really go there? And he said, yeah. What would you then say?
I'd agree he went.
Yeah. But what went on down there could be something completely different.
Have you seen footage from Jerem or Austin? Or have you
no, I haven't.
Or have you seen footage from McKeegan?
What happens if, is it possible? And I'm only asking the question. I'm not trying to assert anything, but remember the space cadets? They took off from Norwich and they flew over towards Russia.
We did streams on that in Flaxers. Yeah,
several.
Maybe they went somewhere where it was completely orchestrated, 4 hours away from where they took off to make it think they were going there.
To back that up,
I'm not being funny. Look at that picture, right? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bare-chested blokes, right? Doesn't matter who they are, but they're bare-chested in the middle of Antarctica. To me, that's the most. They're taking the piss, and one of them looks like he's holding his six-pack in.
So Anthony, right? Can you remember when they come back from moon landing and they were being interviewed and look like they've got faces like a slapped ass?
Yeah, Jerem was like that, wasn't he?
Does Jerem not look like that?
Yeah, he does. That was exactly. I said that exact thing to Mark Sargent. I said, do you not remember on the Neil Armstrong and co? I said, like, Jerem's lacking that enthusiasm that you would expect him to have. Even if he was wrong about the sun, it's an outstanding natural beauty, right? Where's this? Oh my God, it's amazing.
It's a once in a lifetime thing. Yeah.
How many people have been to Antarctica? You'd be doing cartwheels, man. Whether it moved a flat earth or a globe, you'd be like, I've been to Antarctica, look at me.
Maybe he acted like he was being spanked by his grandma.
maybe we should try and approach Jerem so that he could address the allegation that he's just another space cadet, and until he can prove why he's not.
Now, here's the thing, PJ. You're showing that.
Yeah, I'm showing it.
You know where that's from?
No.
The guy shot. He's from Antarctica. That was shot from. Would you believe it?
Wow.
Would you believe that was shot from Antarctica?
That's crazy.
I don't know if I believe that or not. Though, shot from Antarctica. Though.
It's not, but it's not. It's actually shot from Florida from my Austin Thompson. He does great work. But actually, we can't trust anything Jaron puts out because he could just invert this, slow it down, whatever, and say, "Oh yeah, here's my sun solar filter shots from Antarctica." We'd have to believe it.
We've not
Either you believe it or you call Jaron a liar.
One minute. We haven't been getting no solar footage from Antarctica yet.
No, we haven't. No. We're waiting for it.
Has anybody else seen sunspot videos from Antarctica yet?
No, we have not.
Right.
So anything he shows us, how are you going to believe it?
Yeah, but you can't offer up some footage video from somewhere else and put it against them when they've not provided.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with this shit.
That's what I'm saying. We have nothing to compare to. So anything he shows us, it's either it's real or Jaron is lying. It's one of the two.
You're not getting it. You're not getting it, mate. Right? No sunspot footage from Antarctica has been provided yet.
Nothing.
No, it has not. No, but this is what we should expect.
Why are you showing the sunspot footage?
Yeah, because this is what we should expect. We should have been seeing this already from Antarctica.
Whoa. No, how do you know what you should expect when we've not been offered note to compare it to?
That's right. But when Jaron shows, no matter what Jaron shows us, it's either it's real or it's not.
Well, can't we wait till Jaron shows it as before we jump in it?
Unless you pay for it.
Now, I did talk to Jaron right before he left. I went on Speaker's Corner and I had a conversation with the gentleman. And he seemed like he was dead set on him being right to start with. Like there's no midnight sun. But there was something off about him. He told me he was getting ready for the trip and it was kind of surreal. He wasn't prepared for it. I can show you the conversation we had. It's on Speaker's Corner, but yeah, he seems like he was out of it then. That was even before they left, like 2 or 3 weeks before they took off. I had questions then.
Ray, look, Ray, I'm not interested in other people's opinions. What Jaron said before he went, what Austin said before he went. Right, I'm only interested in the footage.
Yep.
Right?
Shut up a minute, man. I'm only interested in the footage that has been presented. That's all I care about.
And would you be able to trust it?
It don't matter. If it's not trustworthy, you can debunk it.
Yeah. Can you
deal
guys
with the footage? All we have to do is deal with the footage. We don't have to make up claims about whether Jaron was fucking on drugs, whether he was working for MI5. We don't have to deal with any other claims other than dealing with the footage.
Guys,
at this point, I agree with you 100%. Let's see what we got.
Just before we move to that, can you see what I'm screen sharing?
Yeah, can you blow it up a little bit?
No, not really. That's the size it is. It's basically it's a message to me.
As long as you're reading it, people can hear it.
Yeah. It's a message between me and Mark Sargent, and it's dated on Sunday of this week, right? We're now on what day is it? Saturday. So it was like 6 days ago. And I said, so you can see at the top it says Sunday, just so you can date mark it. And then I've shared this video, and then I said they are using green screen. Okay, we know that there's an explanation for that. I agree with the explanation. He left his filter on. Yeah, he did. Okay, fine. And then I said,
wait. I want to address that before we move on.
Go on.
I think basically,
how come that green screen on when we're looking at them weighing scales, right? How come that green screen only kicked in when he put that weight on that scale?
Because I think when he put the weight on the scale, I think it was like it was dark. The display was dark. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I think when he put the display was dark, but when he put the weight on the scale, whatever he put on the scale, it lit up green. So then the green screen.
Then you were falling for Baller's arguments, PJ.
No, I'm just saying. I know. I'm saying that's what it looks like. I'm not saying that's actually what happened. I'm not saying that's actually what happened. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. You know?
That scale did not light up.
Yeah, it might have been. LCD screens are generally green, aren't they? Especially older stuff.
That scale did not light up when he put them weights on it, right? Green screen.
Don't worry about it. I don't think it's important. I don't think that's important, though, really.
No, I don't.
No.
Like,
No,
but all,
no, it's
all
not.
I'm saying is, if you want to argue about it, you have to understand what you're arguing about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right? That
let's
green
just-
screen only kicked in when he put that weight on it.
Yeah, but what? So what though? What are you getting at?
Because they were trying to prove changing weights over a globe.
Yeah, that was the equals effect.
My point I'm getting at, when he put that weight on there, it didn't show what he wanted. That's why that green screen popped up.
Yeah, but it could also be that the LCD display.
I'd like to see alternative footage to that. Will we see it?
But anyway, let's just go back. Come on. Sunday. So it's like today's Saturday. It was 5-6 days ago. I said, you know something? We criticised Neil Armstrong and co. for showing an obvious lack of appreciation when they came back from the moon, allegedly. But Jaron was exactly the same when I saw his live. He had no emotion for the outstanding natural beauty in the place that he's meant to be in. Why are these idiots using green screen? And obviously it goes off. I'm wondering if they fake this. Okay, so we can ignore that. But Jaron, if you watch back on Jaron's first live stream, he's the most Neil Armstrong person that you could ever come across. It's uncanny, the comparison. That made me wonder.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like lethargic, kind of almost like in a daze, like it doesn't really matter where I was at. Or
yeah, and obviously he'll pass this off as well. I was really tired.
Like that. Jaron were like that, which were like, yeah, I'm tired. You know, like, man.
I mean, yeah, I can imagine he's going to be tired, but on the other hand, he's in a place that nobody else can get to, and he's in a unique situation, right? For me, it's like you'd be so excited even though you're tired.
You would. I wouldn't go to sleep.
You wouldn't have been tired, and you wouldn't have been doing. You'd have been awake, right?
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says, right? Because I've been in scenarios like that, right?
Vicky said sleep on the plane. They could have slept on the plane, but to me, if I was on the plane, they could have. But I would want to be looking out the windows, you know, all the time.
You monitor the whole trip down, yeah.
I know.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you're going to cry about being tired.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Well, PJ, I'm going to step off.
I've got to finish soon because I'm on again in 2 hours, 2.25 hours.
Aye.
So I'm giving it 15 minutes.
I'm wondering if
15 minutes and then I've got to stop. Yeah. I'm not playing videos now. I'll have to take down the tags.
I'm wondering if we should
I'll play them some other time.
Should we refer to Jaron as the space cadet from now on, unless he can demonstrate proof?
That's a good one.
Like, it is possible that they could have deceived him, and he might have believed he was where they say he is. But how would you? If you were Jaron, how would he prove that he knew that he definitely wasn't in a setup somewhere?
It can.
It is possible that they've deceived him.
It can, and then they know that, Anthony. Like just like me and you can't prove they were down there or not. All we have is the footage, right? And I'm going to keep pushing on this, right? Sorry, PJ. I'm going to keep pushing on this, right? All we have is the footage.
That's right.
We don't even have that, though. We don't have the footage.
It will be that footage that lets them down.
It will. That's what Digital's saying here. Look, Jaron live streamed less than 2 hours the entire time he was supposedly down there. 2 hours.
That's pitiful.
It is. Of course.
Yeah, but we can't prove Austin or Jaron to be liars. We can't prove whether they're there or not. All we can deal with is the footage, and that's what we need to deal with.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to hop off. I got to take care of things before I go to work.
I've got to give it 15 minutes, and I've got to finish because I've got to stream in 2 hours. I've got to stream in 2 hours as well.
Well, me and Cookie will do a stream. I want to go over a couple of things.
Why not keep streaming into like 2 hours?
Because I've got to eat, dude. I haven't eaten today. It's dinner time.
I can take over while you eat. Come on.
That's a legitimate question, PJ. Why not?
Yeah,
right, I'll see you later, guys.
You can carry on talking backstage.
No, it's not the same backstage because nobody can see it.
No.
Sorry, I have to do it. I have to go.
Right.
15 minutes, though. We've still got 15 minutes. Carry on, bros.
Well, I'll hang out with you for 15 more minutes.
Hey, PJ, I'll just go ahead and jump out too, man. I'll just catch you later.
Bless you, dude. Nice one for talking to you, dude.
Hey, Mojo. First time I've
Come
heard your voice, dude.
dude, Jamoja, come more often, dude. Come into the voice
Yeah.
more often. Good stuff.
When I get a good opinion, I might just jump on here and there. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
brother. Yeah, brother.
so like to wrap up in my head, right, and you can agree with me or not, right? All we have is this
absolutely.
footage to deal with, right? We can claim Jerin weren't there. We can claim Austin weren't there. We can, we can make all these claims, right? But all we have to deal with is the footage. Can everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah. Let's see what we've got.
We ain't got shit. We ain't got nothing.
That's it. It's been an A stream, man. Just talking. I was going to show some videos and talk about them, but listen, just chatting's been cool. Just chatting's been cool. We never find it. I will play the videos at some other point, but yeah.
I do find it interesting how Jerin and Austin are both now criticizing the flat earthers that were his friends and all that are turning on him. And I've not really seen that. Obviously, he probably does perceive that from a lot of people. But I'm wondering, why is it that I'm only seeing all these new people in this topic now that are clearly not new? They've been around a while, but I'm only seeing them when they're attacking Jerin. That's interesting as well.
That's right.
Yeah, but you can throw that same garbage on trolls who've turned up.
Oh yeah.
But we have an understanding. We have an understanding for why the trolls just turn up, right? Because that's orchestrated and planted. But that doesn't really work with the trolls that hate Jerin or seem to hate Jerin. Because I do give them kudos. Really struggling to find content makers at the minute. Because I know there's people in this topic, but I'm not finding them. It's weird.
Right, so what you need to ask is, why are people?
Good on him for going. I guess kudos for him going to do this. In reality, he owes us nothing. He didn't have to do it for us, but he went and did it anyway.
No, but did you not hear Witsy on Oakley's when he said he did it for us? He
did.
Yeah, that's what he said. But in reality, he didn't have to. I mean, would you go and just to prove a point?
No, I think biggest bollock that they ever dropped were getting involved with it.
I was going to say, Michael,
because now they are part of the lie.
Yep. I was going to say, Michael, do you really want to carry on the stream while I go and eat?
No, I was joking, man.
Are you joking? No, I was going to say, if you wanted to, you could.
No.
You could have. Yeah, just until, but you'd have to stop before the next stream, obviously.
Is Mojo still here?
Yeah,
still here. Yeah.
Mojo. I'm going to go just for everybody next year. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a live stream with it. Yeah.
You need to get that GoFundMe everywhere, dude. Put it on Rumble as well. Put it on my Rumble channel.
Listen, right? If you want to know whether Witsy and Jerin are lying, just sit back, don't make any claims, and listen to everything that gets said.
True. But I still think
Witsy has already been on Nathan's claiming about, I spent loads of money doing this, and I did this for flat earthers, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no fucker asked you to do it, mate.
I'm not right in saying that it was all expenses paid.
Oh, that's why. Yeah,
but what do you class as all expenses paid, though, Anthony? Like, you've got to buy some winter weather, haven't you? Like, you've got to surely that
obviously
paid for as well.
Yeah, but ultimately, the main consumption of the money, the costs, is going to be the flight times, isn't it? Getting to that area, because it's going to be 3, 4, 5 connections. Yeah, but that's been paid for.
I don't know. What do you class as paid for, though, Anthony?
I don't know.
Like D-class winter weather, sunglasses, D-class all that is paid for.
Well, no, I have my own already. I don't have to worry about that.
My position is that on face value, I tend to believe them and I accept them what they're saying at the minute, unless there's evidence to the contrary, and those long shadows are an issue. I'd like to know what that is.
The problem is the guy who said, I went and I were out of pocket. Right, I spent all this money doing this for you. That's the issue for me. Just like I didn't ask Witsy or Jerin to go. Hold on a minute. Wait, PJ. I didn't ask Witsy or Jerin to go on no fucking Antarctic expedition to prove nothing for me.
As far as I know, on Jerin's
when he turns up and says, I spent loads of money for flat earthers, I spent, no, mate, you've gone down in my estimation. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's got different opinions about people, you know. Everybody's got different opinions, and that's what makes us diverse. Even though we've got the same fundamental belief or knowing, you know.
And at least we don't have to scream and shout at each other about it.
Go on, babe.
Everyone's saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. But we're all going on about it all the time.
It doesn't change.
Mean anything.
No,
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's interesting to talk about it.
Vicky's at a right good point, right?
Exactly.
The fact that we're all arguing about it means we've all fell for the psyop. Doesn't it? Means we've all fell for the psyop.
Because I decided to do a stream in it, so it's my fault.
Damn it, PJ. Dude.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Because it's well, I don't think it's boring. And some areas it is. Some are.
Right.
Some are saying the same.
So did Will Duffy not say that it was like a social engineering experiment?
He did. It's like
Yeah.
almost
Yes,
a
he
big
did.
thriller
So,
thing. Yeah.
Sure
all
is.
of us are arguing about it. Have we not
Mm.
fell into that social engineering thing?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
I'm going to stick with the facts, dude.
all we have is video evidence, right? We deal with that. That's what we've got to deal with. That is what'll, in my opinion,
Make or break it.
undo Globe Earth. Right?
Yep.
There's something wrong with that footage. I don't know what exactly. Shadows don't look right. Sun don't look right. There's something wrong with that footage. It'll come out.
Yeah, Vicky, as Vicky just said as well, you've got to pay for it. You've got to pay for that footage.
You know, as soon as it's shared, they're going to copyright strike you.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Person buys it and everyone watches it.
and shares.
Yeah, they will.
Of course. See, it's a money making thing as well. Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, but think about this, PJ and Vicky. The footage that I bring back, I'm not going to copyright this shit. I'm going to publicly share it like there's no tomorrow. Yeah.
That's way.
You know, it's like
Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide.
That's cool, Roger, right? But you're not
Yeah.
going yet or tomorrow or next year. Like it'll be next
We hope.
year.
We hope we
Yeah.
get it. Just have to pray about it.
What
Man.
we have to, I'm gonna have to keep drumming it into people, right? What we have to deal with is the footage we've got.
All right.
Yep.
That
do.
footage proves or disproves. Mark my words. If you look at that footage, there's something wrong with it.
There's
there
bound
is.
to be.
A little bit dodgy. It's definitely a little bit dodgy so far. Too real. There's a little bit glitches here and there. It's There's something not right. Not
Something
right.
wrong
It's
with
just-
it.
Just to reiterate that, like Hollywood's going to get their hands on a lot of this stuff before we get to look at it, because he brought the producer in. They're gonna doctor it up real good, you know. So it's going to be hard to cut through it.
Vicky said it could be a Netflix.
there's going to be a documentary.
I'm not right. I'm not gonna allude to many things, right? But I know there's a few people covering this. So
Fine, I'll see you later, bro. Bless you, man.
I don't want to jump on their toes, right? But this footage, be it real,
It's a bit further up.
debunks the globe. And obviously, if it's fake, it debunks the globe. Right? This footage is not globe proof. That's as far as I'm going with it, because other people are going to cover this soon.
Terry said Jerry let down the community.
It's very possible they can come back with something that actually blows the globe out of the water. Hey, look, it is an artificial sun or whatever. We do the analogies of the data. You know, it can go both ways. We don't know.
And that's another thing, though. Like he just said, Terry, 2006 just said that Jerry has let down the community. But if you're being really critical, is he part of the community, or was he?
I can you critically think Jeremy were part of the community? How can you?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying, is he or is he? You know, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Not Witsit either, mate.
Is
But
there
I'm going
really
by
a
what Terry
community?
said.
If you go and watch Nathan's and QE's cover Witsit, all double speed that he's made of it last, I don't know, 6 months, right? How
Aye.
can you
Okay.
believe that guy can talk truth? You can't.
I've been watching Nathan tear that apart for the last month now. It's like everything he says, he just doubles back on it in the middle of the freaking conversation, dude. In the same sentence, he'll say, "It travels." No, it doesn't travel. I'm just saying that just to
exactly right. So, just going on that evidence, right? You've got double speaker.
Right. Absolutely.
Hey, PJ, I don't see you in Rumble, man. Like this live stream right now. It says
Rumble.
up.
It's not in Rumble. This one's not in Rumble because
okay.
I already set Rumble up for tonight's stream, and you can only set one stream up at a time in Rumble. So I can do it. It's Rumble. So it's here, my backup channel, and then Twitch. But I'll be finishing in a few minutes, 3 minutes. Look, Jeff Gar said, I wonder what
Can I just say something?
Hold on. Jeff Garcia said, I wonder what footage Elizabeth got. That's interesting as well. What footage we haven't seen any of that.
Like to see it too.
Can I say something, PJ?
3 minutes.
All right.
PJ.
We'll catch you guys later.
Can I say something?
I'm finishing now anyway.
Yeah. Can I just quickly say something, PJ?
Go for it. Yeah, if everybody finish off with one to say statement.
People fall for making idols out of YouTubers, right?
True.
I did this in past, so like I'm not like exempt.
Yeah,
from
we do.
And
I mean,
because I've done this, this is why I can talk about it, right?
We do.
People follow YouTube channels, and they fall for every word they say.
Right.
And this is why we're arguing with people, right? Because you've got people who follow Witsit or say, oh, no, Witsit is the man, like, I'm not having it, right? So you'll argue all day long with a Witsit follower.
Yeah.
You'll argue all day long with a Jerem follower.
Right.
But no one can prove that they have the truth.
That's right.
The thing is, like, if I was Jaren and I was getting attacked by people that he considers to be friends, whoever he's referring to when he says that, I wouldn't want to be live streaming much either, because it'd be shameful, wouldn't it? It'd be embarrassing for his position. Because his argument was, and it did influence me, I'll be honest. His argument was the sun always sets in Antarctica. And I thought, unless we see evidence to the contrary of that, I'm all right with that, because it's subject to evidence. But now he's got that evidence, it seems. I can understand why he wouldn't be live streaming very much.
Anthony, can I share a question from someone who's been in flat earth for a long time? Do you think that footage is proof?
When you say that footage is proof of what?
I think it's evidence. I think it's evidence of some sort. I don't think it's factual proof. No.
Yeah, but wait, let me answer, PJ. So we've only got one footage, McKeegan's.
And it's early days right now.
It's supposed to be proof for a globe.
Listen. Let me give you a bit of context. Well, maybe I can answer that indirectly. When I did my observations on the beach with Ranty, we could not get an internet signal, right? And are you expecting me to believe that they were able to get a crisp, high bandwidth internet signal in the middle of Antarctica? I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe they were getting it off Starlink.
I don't but I've had a good signal on the beach, like, so I can't argue to that.
Hey, Sandro.
The other thing is, what's his face? I saw McToon saying, if I go beyond a certain point, then I lose signal. But it's supposed to be connecting via Starlink. That's not consistent with Starlink.
Well, with the Starlink thing, I'll tell you this. They actually had a receiver they installed that got a direct signal from the Starlink. And when they go outside of the range of that transmitter they had, they attached it to the building, they would lose signal. That's why.
Or they're not in that area at all. They've got signal. They've been told they've got it from Starlink, and really they're just on a set, and that could be faked, and Jaren might believe it. I'm not saying that's true, but it's definitely questionable, the fact that they've got such high bandwidth internet signal, and I can't get it on the beach.
That's a good question.
Right. So can I ask you another question, Anthony? What do you think's happening? Like, really? Do you think we've been pillaged or not?
We might be looking at a Space Cadet situation where Jaren might have been fraudulent. It might be. I'm not saying it's true, but I'd want that ruling out to my own, because, like, if Jaren's being deceived and Austin's being deceived, but they all know about it and they're in on it, then how would they be? How can they be certain that they did go where they think they went? Because GPS signals on a phone don't prove where you are, in my opinion, because that's software based and it can be falsified. And they gave them the software that we're relying on, right? I'm not having that GPS proves anything, because it came from them and it doesn't prove where they are anyway. It might prove that they're somewhere receiving a signal, but it doesn't prove where they are. I'm still not convinced it's not Space Cadet.
Can we prove from footage where they are?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can't tell.
Probably not, because what reference would anybody?
You did a Google Lens, didn't you, Michael, on the mountain?
Yeah. So that's a good point. Right?
You did the Google Lens on the mountain, didn't you?
No, but that's my point, right? If a flat earther presents any footage or anything, right, Globe is like, where's this? Where's that? Don't want to know what pair of knickers you're wearing, right? these guys have been down there. They've spent £1 million close to get down there, right? And all we've got is 45 minutes worth of wank, right? There's no time scale. There's no elevation. There's nothing, right? There's just a little shit, a bit of footage.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
Footage. That is real.
No,
real.
yeah, exactly.
By the way, I'm wearing Fruit of the Looms, dude. Just to let you know.
Yeah, but
you got the cornucopia on it. Cornucopia?
Are they knickers?
Fuck.
Yeah, they're knickers, all right. Now wearing boxers, man.
Some Conway's knickers.
No briefs.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Right, guys, I've got to finish. This has been brilliant, but I've got to finish now.
Yes, Andrew can. In fact, Can don't wear any knickers. He's a man.
He wears a kilt and he lets it
on.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not Scottish either.
Well, people think of me, so you are. Right.
You could be. You could be Scottish, man. All us Americans, we wear briefs or knickers. We do. I don't know why.
Jock straps. You wear jock straps, dude.
I wear nothing, me, but in my trousers.
I've got to have underwear. I don't like it hanging loose. Hey, anyway, weird topic. Let's go. Let's finish. Guys, thanks for being here. Like I say, I was going to play some videos. I'm going to have to take them links out from in my description of RVs and Flat Earth Warriors, and I'll play it later on somewhere. So I'll have to take it out of there. I think they might watch it and think that the video's in it, but it's not. It was going to be, but we had a decent conversation. That was a brilliant conversation. That's the first stream I've had that we've just had conversation and no videos really. You know?
Just quickly, Pete, yeah. Just quickly, man. I'm going.
We're going now, anyway.
No, I've got to make some food, like.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Been nice talking to you, Anthony, Roger.
Absolutely nice talking to all you guys, man. It's been great.
Guys. Love you all.
Let me finish with the final word. For me, it's Space Cadets unless Jaron can prove that he actually was there. And I don't mean that there's a massive burden against him, but I'm not putting it past Jaron that he might have been deceived and he might not realize it.
I see where you
That's another thought.
That's another story.
I mean, true. Could be true.
If we were to unpack that, like we're going for another hour.
Oh, I tell you, yeah, exactly. I tell you, that's an investigation.
I'll let you have to go. Right, I've got to make some food. Love you, love you, Roger.
Thanks, guys.
Love you too, Mike.
Love you too, man. Love you all. Bless you guys in the YouTube chat. I will see you in a couple of hours if you're gonna be there. An hour and Vicky will probably that's early and she's going to sleep. 8 p.m. GMT. It'll be good to see you guys. I just did this one on the random. Thought it would been great. So nice one, Roger. Nice one, Sleep Warrior, Michael, whoever was in, Mojo, all them guys. They were all in. Thanks for being in the panel. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Bless you all. Love you. It's always a pleasure. Here the sun sets free. It's free.
Indeed.
Bless you guys.
Bye.
Beautiful.
Hey.